and welcome back to the Culture Crusade. How is everyone? It is another week, and normal things are like, the general trend stuff has happened. I wouldn't consider it a heavy news week, but some things still have happened. Let me try that again. Sorry, every time I try and say this, I can't help it gag in my throat. Rings of Power. The season 3 trailer dropped. Let's talk about that. Also, let me know if my sound is coming through correct and good. I'm usually able to confirm it with my lovely co-host, who running a little late, but that's perfectly fine. We understand that, and even if they're unable to attend, we'll run solo. I got things to talk about as usual, but let me know if the sound is good, and we'll talk about some of the preliminary stuffs of the things that are happening this week, and then we will look at this Rings of Power trailer, as well as some of the other news-ish items that have caught my interest, because not everything catches my interest. I don't see everything either, and some things that sometimes get talked about might be overblown, and I don't have that much interest in, but other things are probably other people don't have much interest in, but I have. And there's a couple of preliminary things to talk about as we get started. And so something that has been still, I guess, talked about, of course, in the cultural zeitgeist. Good to hear, John. Looking forward to have you, mate. Can't wait till you join us. The Odyssey. The Odyssey is still around, and we covered this a bit last week. But the tone of the discussion from people latching onto it, like the woke, obsessed people latching onto the Odyssey like it's a life raft for them, still going on. Angry Joe has been speaking out and just been flat out lying, it seems like, because I have not seen anyone on our side of the discussion, the chuds, as we are affectionately called, and always we're affectionately claiming that term as an identifier for ourselves, right? Actually losing their mind, or like in an unexpected way, that oh crap, the Odyssey's doing well. We all knew that it was going to do well. I'm still of the opinion that it doesn't deserve to do well because it's an absolute piece of crap of a film, and I stand by that. But they seem to think that bad films doing well validates it somehow, and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, have you seen, Captain Marvel? Did you see the Star Wars sequels? Even Force Awakens is dog crap, okay? Let alone The Last Jedi. Holy crap. Very successful, absolute crap film. And so this doesn't make it a good film if it's very successful. And I've talked about, why I think people are getting fooled by Nolan. He's a bit of a master of manipulation and misdirection, that guy. And so that's certainly not it. And I don't think it's any type of own or anything like that by saying what you got, because I will happily lose my mind as to how crap that film is, because it is crap, okay? And I'll get passionate about it. Then have retards like Angry Joe come and say, well, you look, dumb for getting upset that a movie is an insult to culture and intelligence from someone like him, his brand is crashing out. It's hypocritical bullcrap. Real nonsense. And so that's been going on through the week. And when I say people have been desperate to latch onto a life raft, we've talked about, again, we mentioned it last week, and there's a dedicated video on it, that, people trying to say that this validates their ideology, the culture of woke, and that get woke or broke is false. I'm like, please believe that. But because of that, they've just been desperately latching onto it even more so. And weird things also have come across, like things that I'm not sure people understand what they're really saying when they say stuff like this. So have a look at this little tweet here. Metatron responded to this, which brought it across my feed, because I don't follow idiots like this. I have a low tolerance for stupidity. And so this person, don't know who they are, just a random person on Twitter. So am I the only one who saw this scene? So this is when, is it the Astrogonians? The Giants, right? Wearing super advanced armor for the period. That scene is just so retarded, right? Am I the only one who saw this scene and thought, this is how natives should have treated every colonizer that rolled up on their land? I'm sorry, milady. But I don't think you understand what this scene is possibly indicating. And this is a person that, all colonizers are evil, bad. And so we can get a pretty assured, reliable gauge on their political leanings. And this is a person of the woke ideological mindset. And I don't think you understand. Like these people, Odysseus and his crew, not really colonizers. They weren't there to colonize. They were there to try and maybe find, and even if they intended to stay, I think what the term would more accurately identify them would not be colonizer, but immigrant. Oh dear. Why are people saying Paul Litdev in the chat? What happened to Litdev? Let me know. But as far as I know, Litdev is usually fashionably late, and if he jumps in, I'll be bringing him in. But all right. Thank you, everyone. I'm an idiot. Let me just quickly do something that I should have done. This is the first time. This is the first time it happened. Okay. John said he was late, and I forgot. Sorry, I forgot to drop the link to the live stream. Look, first time it happened. And I'm glad I saw chat people say Litdev must have even tweeted about it or something. I can't believe I forgot. My bad. What's that? I was a bit distracted. Okay. And usually Litdev is fashionably late. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry.
I have arrived.
That is my fault. That is my fault entirely. I forgot. I must have been just distracted. I was looking up. Other things that we might get to, but thank you. Excuse me. Thank you, Victor. I was just talking about. Did you see tweets like this?
Not very many. But this one looks interesting. Like this, I would say this is how Americans should treat every illegal. Right?
That's how
the border guard, right?
I think I think this person is maybe confusing colonizer with immigrant, and if this is the kind of narrative that they want to, I guess, have about this is how you should treat people that rock up to your land unannounced. That's a bit extreme, I'm against illegal immigration, but even I wouldn't react like this. This is what are you trying to say here? What is Nolan trying to say? And it's so funny, right? Because what Nolan literally has said, this is a non-word for word quote, but I am reflecting what he has said accurately, right? Is that the Odyssey, his version of the Odyssey, is a message about the importance of treating strangers with respect and effectively kindness and stuff,
Somehow.
Which is him implying that it's about strangers. When he says that, he means also immigrants. And so Nolan actually had the stupidity to think that his version of the Odyssey is going to have a message about immigration and treating strangers with respect. If you don't treat strangers with respect, society collapses completely. And I'm like, Nolan, your film doesn't even say that message. He's trying to say, but he said that. He actually said that's the message of the Odyssey. But the film he made does not have that message at all. In actual fact, if I was to look at Nolan's film, still don't like it, but try and take the message that he is saying, that if strangers come to your home uninvited and impose themselves upon you and eat your food and are trying to force themselves on the women's of your house, you're entitled to slaughter them all. That seems to have been the message of the Odyssey. Am I like of Nolan's one? Am I wrong?
Invite to your house and kill them all, but be nice to them. I guess be nice. You might have killed them, but at least you weren't rude, right?
Right. And it's so funny and also stupid that the film was like, Odysseus was like, we can't break Zeus's law, because Zeus's law is, the law about treating strangers with respect, because it might be a god in disguise or whatever. And so he's like, we have to get them to initiate violence against us first, and that's gonna allow us to kill them. I'm paraphrasing the story of.
It seems like Odin. I don't really get it. Just doesn't really seem like it might be a Greek god thing. But it seems like an Odin thing, because Odin would do that. Odin would like go around as he's the wanderer guy. He's not a Zeus character. Yeah, he might be the king of the gods. But he's a wanderer. He like he would wander here and there. Like he would go around. That's what he was known for. He's like a nomadic king of the gods. So that would make more sense if it was Norse mythology. But this is Greek. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I guess gods would come in disguise, but it's not always like a beggar or something like that. Sometimes it's like a swan because they want to rape you. It's
Zeus did that. He actually like went in disguise to a woman's bed and took her without her consent. And
sometimes they get really crafty, like trees that grow fruit, and then if a woman eats the fruit, they get pregnant. Like sometimes they get really crafty.
I hadn't heard that one. It's like, what is in that fruit? I'm very concerned now, Dev. But going back to that message is like, Nolan can't even maintain a consistent message in his own film, and that whole idea of Odysseus saying, "Look, if we provoke them to attack us, that's going to validate us in killing them all and not breaking Zeus's law." And I'm like, Odysseus, you had a bow aimed on them, right? Like threatening to kill them. I think that's provocation, and also like it's so nonsense on multiple levels, because these suitors that barged in, right? They effectively broke Zeus's law multiple times as well. And multiple people break Zeus's law against Odysseus and his crew, but they're trying to frame them as the bad people, the sea people. It's just a complete mess.
Yeah, every time they try to at what point was it a good idea to invite in strangers? At what point? Let's invite the strangers that built this giant horse. That turned out well. Inviting strangers to eat in your halls. That turned out well.
Right.
But and then strangers come in and is Circe evil because she was mean to strangers? Like, what was it? Because she wasn't very nice to strangers. She turned into
she wasn't very, but she was justified because remember, men very bad.
Some ambiguous trauma from the past.
Yeah, she was abused in the past, and so that gave her every right to murder any man that approached her seeking help, food, shelter, whatever. And the film seems to justify that. Odysseus even I think he, from memory, apologizes to her, right?
Yeah, he does. Pretty sure.
And it's like, hang on, she just tried to murder and cannibalize your crew. She's this evil piece of crap. What are you talking about, apologizing to her? And like, am I in the wrong for thinking?
So many people. It's not just his men. It was like the island was full of people that she ruined the lives of. So, yes. Just because someone went through something bad, like, doesn't mean they get to be forgiven or everything's cool, right?
Thank you.
Like,
I was listening.
Is the Joker cool because like he went through one bad day? No.
Yeah. And I was going to say, am I wrong for thinking that just because you were abused in the past, that doesn't excuse you committing murder and evil acts in the future as a result of that trauma? No, I don't think that excuses you.
Not one bit.
And that might come up as another topic if we got time to later on, because there is another thing about trauma recovery and that leading to bad actions. And if it's in a property that the left does not see as something to be their ally that they can use as a club to beat over their political enemies, they will rip it to shreds. They will not even acknowledge that this person might have a skewed moral compass because of the trauma that they went through in the past. They do not give it any measure of charity at all. Again, when it might go against anything that they, wants to push. And look, I'm not sure if we'll get to the topic or not, but I'll let the people know what the topic is, and maybe we'll get to it. Mushoku Tensei.
Oh yeah.
I'm not sure if you've been seeing the firestorm that's been going around Mushoku Tensei in the last week.
They just discovered Mushoku Tensei, I guess, season 2.
And they're losing their minds over it.
But fortunately, the creator has been like, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want.
The creator's like, just like, stuff you. I'm going to write the stories I want to write. But the thing that they don't want to really talk about is the nuance in that whole discussion. And maybe we'll get to it in this live stream. We will see, because it's an interesting topic. But before we get there...
I found I got a little image here. If Christopher Nolan had written Rise of Skywalker, somehow our Star Wars coming to an end. Our Age of Bronze.
Our Age of Bronze is coming to... It's like, oh my gosh.
That was so cringe. Even the theater.
Really
oh man, that's like, what? Did he just say that?
It really, really was. Like,
did they know they were in the Bronze Age back then?
Oh, my goodness. And so everything throughout the Odyssey is basically saying, no, you should like treat any stranger that comes to your door offering gifts like a horse or wanting claiming for shelter, food. What do you like? Don't trust them at all. According to Nolan's Odyssey, they're probably there to rape and pillage your home. And in actual fact, you might want to react like the Astrogonians did and just slaughter everyone that comes on your home, your foot, your home's doorstep immediately, because you go by the trend of the pattern of events that happens in the Odyssey. That's probably the safer way. And I'm not sure that's the message that Nolan really wants to share, but hey, that's what this seems like a film is saying. What does he mean by that?
It's very interesting. But I did find it very hilarious that the feminist writer didn't like the movie at all. She's been tearing it to pieces.
Yes, she
annihilating it. Like, there was a Variety article on it and everything. It's crazy. It's like, just no, it's abysmal. It's awful. I was like, well, this is why Christopher Nolan, you should have known not to do this, because you should have known that no man, no matter how hard he tries, can ever please a feminist. There will always be something.
Yes,
that she'll find issues with.
She really is. She really is. Like, Disparu has like clips that is shared about her approach to her translation of the Odyssey, and it is unbelievably biased and ideologically fueled from a feminist, propaganda bullcrap lens, right? But even she acknowledges that who Odysseus was, right? But her kind of narratives wants to condemn that, but then she's like complaining that Odysseus was completely changed, and but even she was saying that this version is crap.
Well, I like I like how this is really funny to compare it to another movie by an evil director, Shad, an evil director named Mel Gibson, who made Apocalypto, who said no to celebrities. We're going to do it. We're going to get indigenous people. We're going to make it as realistic as possible. They're going to speak ancient Mayan. They're going to do all this stuff. And then what happens? Everyone complains about the ships at the end. No one. That's it. And then meanwhile, everyone's like this glazing the Odyssey, even though the good guy, the woke Christopher Nolan, who's very appreciative and very appreciative of woke culture and very in tune with the people, is like, let me get all these celebrities that you hate, all the A-class celebrities, and we stuff them in there. Weirdly, I'm just going to stuff them in there. They don't belong there, but I'm going to just stuff them in there because that's what you do. And everyone's going to talk normally, like there's like Americans. It's going to talk like Americans, and it's just going to. There's like an Asian guy on Odysseus, like it's full of diversity.
We are Greeks from Ithaca, says the.
Hey, we're Greeks from Ithaca. What are you good? I'm watching it.
Said by an Indian guy to an Asian guy that was translating from a Greek man speaking Greek, and it's just like, what are they doing?
Hey, man, we're from Ithaca. No cap. On God. On Zeus.
Oh, my gosh.
On Zeus. No cap. Gen Z Odyssey.
So that has been hilarious, just watching what's been going on through the week with that. And it's still, still a mess, and people are still being stupid over it. But changing topics briefly, I just this is topical because Shad, I just watched Master of the Universe, and I
also watched it.
Hey, what'd you think?
I watched it last night or this morning.
Yeah,
I worked on stuff. Let's see.
And Masters of the Universe is the most watched movie in the world.
I was like, okay, I was watching it and I was like, this is kind of it's kind of a dumb movie, but an awesome one. Like I liked all the action. It just they didn't skimp out on the action. I can tell you that right now. It was pretty cool. I like Skeletor he wasn't overly goofy. He was like just the right amount of goofy and menacing. They didn't make him goofy but retarded. They kind of kept the menace. He just zaps Moss Man to death. That was awesome. That was cool. And then it also didn't have Evil Lynn becoming like the secret, brain behind it, where he's an idiot man and she's the woman behind the man's work. Like and he's also really powerful. Like so he's like, Evil Lynn, why isn't it working? And he actually is menacing, like burning her. And
he really is when
him.
He's choking her. And he is unrepentantly evil. And just because he enjoys being evil. And it's like, oh, finally, none of this sympathetic villain. I'm this because of that. And Adam, he even tries to give Skeletor that bone where it's like, maybe you'll like this because you wanted to be king or you weren't treated well and everything. And his response is like, no, I'm a villain. And it feels great.
It's like, I'm the villain.
Yeah.
Like, enough of your nonsense about sympathetic villainy. I'm the bad guy.
I'm the bad guy, and I love it. So finally, we got like an unrepentant villain. And I've been, reporting from the time this movie came out. This movie, I loved it. I actually think it's not only good, I would put it in the realm of great. It has a great message of positive masculinity done right. The marketing ruined it, and it bombed at the box office. But it is doing really, really well on streaming.
It just has the combination there where it's like he works at HR, and then he also has this whole thing about I'm going to go ahead and talk to people, dialogue first, and then fight. That be nice until it's not time to be nice anymore. And that's kind of the same kind of energy that Aragorn brings along with him, which is Aragorn is peak masculinity. And the idea is, you should know how to use your power. You should know how to use it as a man. You should know when to use it and how to use it, and to use it for a just cause. And it's pretty cool. Exactly. It's pretty good. It does that. So it's not about being feminized. It's about, okay, let me try to talk to you first. And if you reject that, then I'm going to annihilate you with some Mortal Kombat style brutalities. And it was pretty cool.
Without mercy. Because Skeletor, when he's starting to get when he realizes he can't win, he says, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this.
Like,
and then he says, the time for talk is over. Because now he knows that this is bullcrap. That was just lip service because Skeletor didn't want to get defeated. And if he showed mercy to Skeletor would just come back and be evil again because it's unrepentantly evil. He knew that. He understood that. And as a result, no mercy, no quarter given. Time for talk is over. Violence is the only way to deal with this threat. Brilliant. Look, actually, I shouldn't be praising it as genius because this is actually core, basic, virtuous masculinity that has existed for all history almost, right? But in the modern day, Hollywood has been so toxically averse to anything like that the message of masculinity is about controlled, also restrained violence, but using violence, absolute full violence, even, no quarter given, no mercy, when it is justified and needed. And the fact that film finally had that was just, I loved it. I thought it was brilliant in the sense that it was so great. Not brilliant that it's some mystery that's hard to understand. No, the concept of restrained violence, great power comes great responsibility, that men are stronger and therefore they need to learn how to use it appropriately and always seek peaceful means first. But when those means are exhausted and there's no other recourse, you are justified in unleashing your full strength, unleashing the monster that you have caged inside, right? That's a primary theme of my book, the book that is now with my editor and is coming shortly. But no, literally, the book is entitled Men and Monsters. The core theme is about the violent capacity that men have, the main character has, right? And learning how to use it right. And that is virtuous and good to have that capacity. Absolutely.
Yeah. A weak man cannot be a virtuous man. because he has no choice but to be, kind or seemingly nice. But I will say that the part where I think you would kind of predict this, but the part where I like the movie, where I really like, this is awesome, was before he even went to Eternia, and it was like that moment where he's just riding in the cop car, and all of a sudden you get the song, and Beastman comes out, and Tila comes in. What's going on? Although I did have some issues with the movie, and that is like we can't, of course we can't have the main character be in a heterosexual relationship. Like, there's no heterosexuality allowed for the main character. Now we can allow some heterosexuality with the villains and with mom and dad, because that's what we can't really have a message, I suppose, from Hollywood where young men should go pursue women. That's silly. We can't have that from Hollywood. That's toxic. Romance is for mom and dad and bad guys. All right. So the whole moment was like, oh, we're friends, He-Man. We're just friends.
Okay. I've watched the film twice, right? And I watched that closely. Tila has the hots for him. She says, she actually says, like, actually, I couldn't stop thinking about you. She says, I thought about you every day. I couldn't stop thinking about you. That's her admitting that she likes him. But when he's like, he gets the message, but then he wants to kiss her right then and there. And she knows that, all right, we're crashed in the middle of nowhere. We need a fight. Not the best time to do it. That's where she pulls back. But I don't think that's her friend zoning him. I think she's laid the seeds and let him know that she likes him. He likes her. But then she was like, not the right time. I think they should have kissed at the end, and it can't be like she's the one that kisses him. It has to be him kissing her. Yeah, that would have been good. Her kissing him, that's everywhere. It's common. It's like we always get that moment where the girl kisses the guy, and the guy's like, "Oh, what?" Blushes like, "Oh my goodness!" No, we got to have the guy like pulling in the girl and kissing her, like a man, or something like that. Some masculine like that, like assertiveness. But we didn't get that either. He's like, "Oh, guys, I guess I go." Go fight the bad guys. All right. I know. I have my criticisms of the film, and if you watch my dedicated review here on the channel, I wish they would have given more respect to the concept of He-Man. I don't like that they played off the name as a joke, because no, the He-Man needs to be a legendary title. Everyone reveres
He-Man.
It's like a masculine man. I don't think it was malicious in them playing it off as a joke. It was that they were trying to make it funny. They were trying to do something in good humor.
Sometimes the humor kind of was weird, because it's like, okay, you know what fisting is. They what the sexual context of fisting is, but don't know what benching is. You have bench presses, but you have like fisting orgies here in Eternia, I guess. You know what this means? Like, Grandman, give him head. What? Yeah. Sorry, bro. So
but the thing is, though,
sexual terms, but they don't know like and stuff.
Those jokes actually really landed for some people, and others they don't. And so when it comes to humor, I think they just tried to throw everything. And because there were ones that I felt was dumb and didn't land and even subverted the scene, like I'm coughing on the smoke and things. And I thought that, but other people actually laughed at that. And like, I know, was it Az? I can't remember who said it exactly, but the mechanic or the Ram Man, where they say, give him head, and they look at each other. I was like, I think he busted out laughing his head off.
Those moments are technically funny, but I'm like, why do they know these terms in the way the Earthlings know these terms? That's what. So they are.
You're
funny.
right. And I think that's them going. They were just desperate to try and get any joke in there, like it was the shotgun approach, where they just spray everything and hope something lands. And honestly, it seems like some landed for some people, others not, and everything. But I actually think their intention for this movie was actually genuine. I think they really wanted to make just a great He-Man film, and at the end of the day, for me, it was. I was shocked. I was like, and so many people are just checking it out because it's now on Amazon and they already have a subscription, so they don't need to pay extra money for it, and they're friggin' loving it. The movie is like been like so many comments, and I'm not sure if this is Amazon also pushing the marketing, which is interesting. Because if they are doing that, it seems like Amazon was more interested in it being a success on streaming than a success at the box office. Because now
it wouldn't be successful if it wasn't, had some value to it. Because they also made a War of the Worlds movie, which was absolutely horrible. It was just retarded. It was just like, imagine like a entire War of the Worlds movie that took place inside of someone's computer room. That was it. It's ridiculous and it's
Oh,
kind of creepy.
yeah. Right.
It's really funny to see people cover the movie, but the movie itself is not that great.
Oh, you're talking about that one, yeah, the War of the
The
Worlds one.
War of the Worlds movie that
War
they
of the
had. But
Worlds.
so they made
Yeah.
so Amazon also made He-Man, which is getting a lot of traction because it has some value in it.
And it's actually a good film, and people are now just checking out. And I've been seeing a lot of people just on Twitter saying, "Holy crap, I watched this now, and it was brilliant." And then other people pointing out this film would have done so much better at the box office if the marketing didn't ruin it. And they were stupid with the marketing, talking about, "Oh, it's about toxic masculinity." Get out of here, idiots! Right? They really stuffed up with the marketing, but more people are discovering that this film is actually pretty darn good. And it also seems like Amazon is more interested in being, like I said, a success on streaming than the box office, which actually does put a sequel in the possible. Like it's actually in the realm of possibility now. And so who knows? I'm there if a sequel comes out. Hopefully they can make another good film of it. But like for me, it came as such an odd thing because we never get good adaptations. They usually ruin it. Even I wonder if this was just a complete anomaly, like an absolute mistake, where they actually went in thinking, we need to give a message about toxic masculinity. Let's try and subvert that and actually like present something about masculinity that's actually not toxic, and then them accidentally doing the traditional virtuous masculinity with them thinking that they're inventing something new when it's not. This is like old school virtuous masculinity.
I guess it could be because it might be that oh yeah, he works in HR, and even though everyone hates HR, and even that we have that lady who's like, oh, I hate those. I hate that personality. Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, well the fakeness of the HR people. It's so and especially when it's women because they talk down to you like you're a child.
Yeah.
It's just awful. Just yell at me. I prefer you yell at me than talk to me like this.
And there are other moments in it, like when Skeletor is in the workplace and is like, "What is this place?" He's like, first really confused. They say human resources, and Skeletor's like, "I like the sound of that because it's implying like human slavery, right? It's evil." And Skeletor's like, "All right, I can get on board with that."
That's a pretty good idea. I better get one of these.
That's just
it's pretty. Sometimes they're pretty funny, but I think if it happened the way you said it might have happened. It was like, okay, we're going to subvert this. I could see them thinking that okay, the way to cure men is to make them a little bit more feminine. So they have him in a feminine environment, HR, and that's what brings him to his power. Is that he's not masculine, he's feminine. He's also part feminine, so he's like something in the middle. So he's non-binary, and therefore, being non-binary, he's powerful now. And we have that. We have the sorceress saying, "Oh yes, but everyone else who had the power before you, it just became brute strength, like because they're all dumb men, cavemen. But with you, because you are half woman, you're kind of feminine." You're non-binary now. It's taken on so much more power.
But see, even if that wasn't their intent, they failed at the execution, because when she says that he can be stronger than all the other heroes because he has empathy, right? That's them actually reverting to restrained strength, the traditional masculine virtue from the very beginning, that you always resort to the peaceful option first. And if you look at all throughout classic like heroic storytelling, right? That's one of the primary virtues about trying to, resolve things peacefully, and that violence is the last option. And that's what they show. And then the fact that he embraces violence at the end so completely, and he says the time for words is over. That's even if they didn't intend it, that is the film saying that sometimes you don't have empathy on the villain because they're unrepentant and you just need to destroy them, right?
It's just want to be evil.
Yeah.
I think did you see the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie where I think it's that movie where someone says, "No, you're so much better than this. You don't have to do this. You're so much better than this." He's like, "No, I'm not." I forgot what movie that was. I forgot which one, but I think it was that movie.
Yeah. How are you, John? Thank you for joining us, man. Good to see you.
Thought you could talk about He-Man without me, huh?
Well, yes. Well, right at the end of the discussion, is there anything you wanted to add?
It's been great to see over the weekend so many people really kind of coming in and going, wow, wow, I'm sorry, I didn't see this movie in theaters. It's getting the Transformers 1 treatment. And I think I have seen some rumors flying around, nothing confirmed, that a sequel has already been greenlit. And I hope that is the case. I wish Transformers 1 would get one. That seems very, very unlikely, unfortunately. But, I will take a Masters of the Universe sequel. Hopefully they fix a few things that are a little cringy and, double down on the stuff that was the strengths. Did you see that tweet that I sent a little earlier, Shad? My good friend, Copa Cabana, who, Cinema Copa now, who did the great analysis of how he, at the end, he rejects all of that and finally doubles down and says, you know what?
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Only my masculinity is going to solve this problem. I'll put it in the thing if you want to look at it. But man, what a great analysis that was. I'm like, I didn't even kind of put that together because I'm stupid, but that was a great analysis. And it really kind of brought a whole lot of stuff together. I enjoyed the movie more the second time. My wife watched it. She said it wasn't really for her, but she would love to watch a sequel with She-Ra in it. She was such a She-Ra fan back in the day.
Absolutely. And I remember reading this. And the key point that encapsulates this, the time for talk is over. That line right there is the primary point where the narrative of the film, and even if it's against what the creators, the directors, whatever is saying, the film is saying something very clear here, that there's a time when empathy ends because you're dealing with an unrepentant evil and violence is the only way to destroy it. And men are the ones who hold that power to do it. And that's the core of masculinity. And that's what He-Man represents. And holy crap, it's actually there. And I can't believe we got something like that in the modern day and it's from Amazon. It's made by bloody Amazon, who gave us Rings of Power. What the hell is going on? I do not understand this slipped through the cracks, but it did. And I'm very happy that it did, because it's like finally get something good in the just slew of crap. And we will get to Rings of Power shortly, but my goodness.
By the way, speaking of villains and everything, did you see the news coming down from the new Avatar Last Airbender fighting game? It's been very interesting. Now, I'm going to share this little clip here. But you tell me, Chad. I don't know if it's been confirmed to be real or not. It feels like it is because it's voiced. Is it voiced? But it could be AI voice. I don't know. But I've seen other instances from the storyline. But it's like Ozai. I'm like, this clip will make you root for Ozai. Like, is Ozai like not just like because you hate Korra, but because it feels like they're making Ozai the good guy in this scene, because he's like, I want just leave my daughter alone. Leave it to Korra. I don't want her to go into your world of violence. And Korra's like, make me.
A visit from the. I know that you and your family have been trying to tear me and Azula apart.
Also, I guess they're lesbians, but it kind of feels like
really?
After this, it feels like Korra kidnapped her or something.
Stop being so obstinate and let us speak as two warriors. You know Azula is.
He's like, she's not like us.
She's a sensitive girl.
You know, Korra has to be bad when Ozai is like, leave. Don't corrupt my daughter with your violence.
Oh Lord.
I won't have her pulled into your world.
Yeah, Korra, you're way too evil. You're a bad influence on Azula. and then
when the Fire Lord thinks you're a bad influence.
I know, right? Like
the guy who's like proudly running a war. He's like, let her go. He's like, and then she's like, make me. I'm like, get her, Ozai. Save your daughter, Ozai. She needs your help, Ozai. Get her. It's like taken. Korra's taken her Azula as hostage, and Ozai has to go what's his name, Mark Mills or whatever his name is, and go after her. Just
I love the hate that Korra gets. And I think I saw one of your tweets, Lit Dev, about a possible sequel where it's a post-apocalyptic world, and it seems like Korra's actions destroyed the world, and you're like,
No,
that's the narrative.
That's in the trailer. If you, the new trailer coming out for the new Avatar is like this little Indian girl from the Earth Kingdom, I guess. But they directly say in that trailer that Korra failed us, and it shows like older Korra, and like she did something to bring the world to this absolute desolate desert that it is now. I was like, because at first it was like zooming in the trailer, right, and it had the glowing eyes of the Avatar, and it said, "Oh, it said the Avatar failed us." I'm like, oh, they're gonna blame this on Aang, aren't they? But no, it's Korra. Korra did this. Korra ended the world. What base that? This is the other instance that convinced me that this might be a real storyline, and it's this where Azula's fighting Korra, and Korra's like, "I told you I didn't want you," or she's Azula's saying, "Korra, I told you I didn't want you fighting with my family. You know they mean everything to me." And then Korra goes, "What? So you're saying you like them more than me?" This is abusive behavior. She's grooming Azula to try to and Azula's like, "How dare you?" And it's like this is like villain behavior. Is Korra the bad guy in this game?
Well, that's seemingly the reality of Korra these days. So
isn't that didn't I hear some things about the new Avatar cartoon that's coming out, the continuation, whatever it is? I'm still here, by the way, guys. My camera's just froze. I'm not going to fight it that hard. That's fine. My face looks fine. Yeah. Wasn't there an element to people kind of blaming Korra in the past or something like that?
Well, that's what we were just talking about. Yeah,
contextualizing her as in a villainous role. I kind of feel like the creators must have been like, okay, we lean into it this way because we can't just ignore that she existed.
Yeah, she destroyed the world. That's in the trailer. At least that's what the trailer presents it as.
Yeah, that's not going to make you a lot of friends.
If so, based. We're getting a decent amount of clicking or static from someone's mic. I don't know which one and who it is, but maybe you ought to plug something back in. But if so, that is hilarious. That is hilarious. Dev, you got another thing you're sharing? What's this?
Yes. So this reminds me. So this is like the other movie, right? Where they had this. Yes. It's a bad marketing. But here's an instance. I don't think we even need to hear it. It's like him. This is the part where she kind of got out of the house with her husband, and like the husband which was like a hobbit or whatever.
Halfling,
like, yeah. She gets the hither staff or whatever, and then she comes out all sad and dejected because it's tough. It's a tough moment, and then he comes in. Chris Pine's character comes in and starts singing "Juice of the Vine," which is like the song that they share. He's a bard, and it could easily have gone two ways, and it went the good way in the movie, but it could easily have gone. She look at her facial expression. She's like, "I had a bad moment," and he starts singing his song, and then it could have easily been like her turning to him and then giving him like this harsh look, like, "Really, you're doing this now?" And then he would be like, "Oh my goodness, I'm sorry," and he slowly puts it away, all quirky and everything. It could have gone that way. That's definitely how Marvel would have done it. Like, "Really, bro, you right now." But that's not what happens. He starts singing, and then it's like, she like takes it in and she starts singing the song with him. And soon it's like everything's cool. Like, see, they start singing the song with them, and he looks so happy again, and off they go as friends. It's a really good moment, and it's kind of what these small moments like these are what makes movies feel real and feel more human, I think.
Yeah, and you're absolutely like, this is another film that was actually ruined by the marketing, but was really good. And again, they tried to say that the director or someone close to the film said they loved emasculating their lead characters. And so that was such a massive red flag for this film. I watched the film. I mean, Chris Pratt is the masculine leader and core and heart of the film. And even though he's not a warrior, they actually validate his masculinity in the sense that he's a leader and provider, and he feels like he failed his family and all these things.
If he's not the one leading, everyone goes home. So he's like the only one that can lead that group.
Absolutely.
And the thing is, he was billed as the bard, and I look, the red flags were there. Like he was going to be the bard. He said they were going to be emasculating. They're something traditional masculinity turning on its head and all that. And we had what's her name? Oh gosh, I can't remember the female actress in it. She always plays a strong chick. The signs were there. Yeah, Michelle Rodriguez. She always plays the strong punk like chick. I don't know what that static sound is. It's not. But anyway, the red flags were there. You can't blame anyone for thinking that's what was going to happen. And then we end up hearing it's not quite the case. My biggest complaints about the film was that everybody was just some different flavor of human. And maybe it was a budgetary reason. Like, you could have had Olga be a half orc as strong as she was. I get that she was the barbarian class, and that's all well and good. I like my barbarian chicks. Why not just throw some green paint and some tusks on her? The tiefling was regular skin color, which traditionally they're not.
Yeah.
There was hardly any dwarves. There was the halflings. My God, every movie and supplement for Wizards of the Coast puts out does halflings so dirty as far as the visuals. How is it so hard to get their proportions correct? They literally just miniaturized people and made them look like they look smaller than munchkins. You have Bradley Cooper as her ex-husband, and he looked like he was 2 foot tall. And I'm like, oh my God. But I mean, everything else about it was really great. The meta stuff was great. The humor was pretty decent. A lot of the mistakes got left in as jokes in the movie that really worked well. And I wish it had kind of done better. I really do. But I think the expectation is that people want a Dungeons and Dragons movie that is goes about as seriously as a Lord of the Rings would, mind you. Whereas the movie really took on the tone of friends having a session around the table. You know, a kind of, we're taking things seriously, but we're also kind of lighthearted about it as well. Which, if you don't look at the movie that way, it's not going to work for you. But it worked for me.
Yeah.
I really liked it too. It was really good. I wish Critical Role was more like this.
Oh no!
Actually, Critical Role is both better and worse than this. Well, you mean Critical Role now, the current campaign?
Yeah, I don't know. All right. We need to shift topics just briefly, and well, not briefly. Let's get into the main topic. I did have someone knock on my front door. I just need to check if they're still there because it might be a delivery. So, could you guys hold the fort just briefly? I'll be back in a sec. Let me throw in a can of worms topic. Oh no, because those are the topics I want to talk about later. Damn it! Quickly, John. Talk about the crap in the romantasy that you've seen this week.
Oh my God, yeah, the romantasy. Actually, I had a good romantasy book that got popped up. One of my friends was in the booktube spaces was talking about a book about a necromancer who and whatnot. I said, this sounds a lot like the book that I read, Hopeless Necromantic, which is actually a decent, clean romantasy. So I was recommending that. Dev, we mentioned Critical Role a second ago, man. Have you been watching Campaign 4, or did you nope out of it?
No, I went away from it a long time ago. I've really been watching this cartoon show they've been making.
Oh, right. I have not caught up on the latest season. It is a really good summation of the first campaign, but it is starting to diverge from some of the stuff a little bit. And it's kind of disappointing to me because I felt like, my God, you had 2 years worth of streams of material, and you're starting to make some stuff up now. And I think a big problem with Critical Role is like Vox Machina, especially, and the shows, the TV shows end up feeling a lot woker than the streams actually were, because the streams were actually very like a lot of those elements didn't really pop up, but they pop up way more in the show because the shows are condensing all of the mega
in the current year too. So all the shows are just like, oh yeah, everyone's gay and bisexual and it's constant sex jokes and everything. So that's kind of what it felt like. But
they operate on that everyone in the world is baseline bisexual logic, and I cannot stand that. And it really. They very much cater to their audience in that way, especially in Campaign 3, where almost right away the two lesbian characters were hooking up. And like, well, we didn't plan it that way. Yeah, sure you didn't. Just like you didn't plan for it to happen in Campaign 2 when the two lesbian characters hooked up.
Hey, gentlemen, it's time. It is time. It is upon us. Rings of Power.
I can't believe this show's still going.
Yeah, my goodness. I get it. So I'm trying
It's
to
a
share my screen. Has that come
humiliation
up?
ritual at this point.
Has my screen come up? Can you guys hear me?
I
I
can
can
hear
hear you, but you're not sharing it.
Oh,
There.
fine. I don't know. That was weird. That took like 30 seconds to appear.
Sometimes
So...
I don't know why StreamYard has been really slow lately. It's very
All right, hang
laggy.
on. I know my VPN can slow down. I'm gonna freeze for a second, then I'll be back. So hold on a tick.
Let's see. So anyway, woke.
All right, I should be back. Tell me when you can hear me.
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me? Am I back?
We can.
We're good.
All right. Yeah. Hopefully that'll help out. All right, gentlemen. It is time. Rings of Power. Holy crap, Rings of Power, man.
No.
This is such an abomination, this thing right here. Like they are just, I don't know, desperate to lose money, digging digging the hole deeper and deeper. No, we lost John.
I guess it cut out. Who's actually watching this? Who's actually watching the Rings of Power, other than like I don't know, Housewives or something?
Like Prime, Amazon, really weird situation. Yeah. Rings of Power killed you, hey John.
I don't even know what to say. Like I checked out in season 1. It was so bad. I was on a stream with a couple of much more prominent indie authors than me on a BookTuber's channel, and they were glazing Rings of Power just with that whole I'm just glad we're getting more Lord of the Rings content. And I'm like, really? You guys write better than this. How can you not tell how badly written this is? And I kind of wonder if it's just a matter of everyone was trying to go along with the zeitgeist. Rings of Power, it's new. We've got Tolkien on TV. But I mean, at this point, it's undeniable, right? The people who were denying how bad Rings of Power season 1 were the same people who were denying how bad season 8 of Game of Thrones was until they realized everyone was saying how bad it was. And now almost nobody's celebrating it. Nobody's wanting it, but they're still doing it because they're locked in for 5 seasons.
Yeah, or like sunken cost fallacy. They have contractual commitments. It's a vanity project. Like the amount of money that they have poured into it is insane. But it's Amazon. I guess they have the money, and they were so desperate to, I guess, be seen as a legitimate. And like Amazon, the thing that legitimizes you is stuff like Masters of the Universe, not this piece of crap. The amount of money they're wasting is unbelievable. And it's not doing well on streaming either. They lost 60% of their audience in season 2. There's a massive drop off. And by the way, they almost lost that amount in season 1 from the people who started watching it towards the end. And it was atrociously bad. See, like both season 1 and 2, we're talking about some of the most retarded writing I've seen put to screen. And even that opening scene in season 1, that monologue where it's like, do you know why a boat floats and a rock sinks?
Yeah, that was retarded. It was like just baby's first fantasy dialogue.
I really was. It was them desperate to mimic Tolkienian style prose with not a fraction of the talents to pull it off. So they just tried to make some airy, fairy, fluffy, retarded nonsense. And that was a consistent, like, people, you can go watch my reviews. I've reviewed every single episode of season 1 and 2. And if you want just like a roller coaster of terrible, like production, writing, everything, me losing my mind, and with my co-host, go check out those reviews. It is unbelievably bad, this show. But season 3 is on its way. We got a teaser trailer, and oh my gosh. Right? I mean, everything that I'm seeing in this trailer is just reminding me how bad season 1 or 2 is, right? And it seems like Amazon kind of knows this. And so, one of the things that we've been saying about the release of this season, they're saying you don't need to watch the previous 2 seasons. This is like, they're trying to say, this can be a standalone. It just start right now. And that seems to be like a
just jump in. Yeah, just jump right in.
Yeah, really big.
That's the biggest admission of failure we're ever going to get from them about it.
Yep, I know. Like that is an admission of failure, like genuinely, right? It's amazing. And so, oh my gosh, the fact that they are saying you don't even need to watch the previous 2 seasons, just start now. Trust us, guys. Is like, you know what?
Really be desperate at that point.
They are really desperate for that. They are really so desperate for that. And so it really feels like, because they kind of tried to do this with season 2. Season 1 was such a disaster that, you know what the creators came out with season 2? They're saying this one is like a constant battle. It's action packed and it's more accurate to the books than ever before. You know what it wasn't when season 2 came out? It was not action packed. It did have a whole episode that was a siege, and it was the most retarded siege I've ever seen. And you know, it was like more inaccurate to the books than ever before. Like they just lied and gaslighted their audience.
I think they're trying to make like a soap opera or something like that. Just you know, for housewives, or you know, just for women. They made this for women, obviously.
It seems like that. But so the fact that they're trying to say, just start now, guys, like, trust us, this season is going to be good. Like, no, get stuffed, right? This season.
Fight with your feet, Shad. Fight with your feet.
Right. This season 3 is built on the abomination of season 1 and 2. And when I watch this, it's like, get out of here. I like this is just reminding me how bad season 1 and 2 is.
No.
They try to say, no, this is it. The forging of the One Ring. Get into
okay,
it.
so I'm gonna go. I want to see if the dialogue is going to be the generic dialogue they always get. It's like, we must stand together. We will become united, or some stuff like that.
Let's listen to it.
Is the mighty hour come?
Hang on. Now is the mighty hour come.
Hour come.
I want to listen.
What? Now is the mighty hour come.
I mean, are they listening? Because like the mighty, I don't know. That just strikes me as like
the mighty hour come. Like our come is mighty.
Yeah,
that's the stupidest fantasy dialogue I've ever heard. They are trying so hard to emulate Tolkien's Shakespearean dialogue that they end up writing stuff that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
Is this supposed to be like they're trying to, this is like a poem or something? They're trying to write a poem for the.
I mean, a mighty hour invokes, like, you know, the final culmination of a great battle or something like that, right? Whereas just like maybe the great hour, I don't know. It's just like it feels very amateurish. Yo, Galadriel and Celebrim. No, not Celebrim. Her husband. What's her husband's name? Chat will let me know.
That's Celebrimbor, isn't it?
Obviously, it's Mr. Galadriel. That's
Mr. Galadriel.
Mr. Galadriel.
Who is
Where
there
have you been?
for all of her decisions. Also, if she tells him that, oh yeah, I was falling in love with Sauron. Oh, that's okay. Yeah. Everyone makes a mistake. You know, everything's cool.
Right. She was getting the hots for Sauron, man. She was cheating on you. And so they're probably going to try and say that, oh, she thought he was dead all along or something like that, when she's supposed to be married already and have a daughter, right? And so...
The Dark Lord is on the brink of crafting a new power. One reign to rule.
It's like this.
I'm sorry, who are you and why are you talking to the humans and elves?
Yeah. Hey, Litdiv, I think the static is coming through your mic, my friend.
That was muted.
Oh, you muted? John, it might be you then. Hang on. I'm going to... yeah. John, unfortunately, your mic is popping a lot. Going...
Maybe I'm too close to it. I'll back it up a little.
Do you have a phone near it? Sometimes that does it as well.
Oh, actually, I do. I will move the phone slightly away.
All right.
Is that better?
So far, so good, actually. So far, so good.
This work kind of looks like the feminist that got mad at Nolan.
Well, so this orc is betraying Sauron and is like telling he's and why does the orc know about this one ring and all that? Like, already this is not making sense.
The orcs are people, Shad. The orcs are people, and they have feelings and stuff.
Like, listen, as mayor of Orc City, I understand there are different flavors of orcs. Okay, now But I understand in Tolkien, these are supposed to be irredeemable, monstrous beings of evil. You should not be having an orc friend here helping them out. Even if they were going to betray Sauron, they wouldn't be running to try and sabotage him. Let me help the humans. That'll get a rise out of Sauron.
And these the Lord of the Rings orcs are not Warcraft orcs. And they don't have they don't have these personalities and thoughts and things. They're just evil. They're supposed to be evil. They're not Warcraft orcs at all.
Yeah.
They're beholden to their nature.
Yes, exactly. And so it just doesn't make sense that this orc is like what, turning coat and even that. How does he even know about this one? Wasn't the One Ring supposed to be forged in complete secrecy, right? Because he fooled them all. No one knew what Sauron was actually planning with it. And by the way, right, Galadriel actually knows that Sauron had a role in making the Rings of Power, and when she learnt about the nefarious plot, and then said, "You know what we should do? We should make them anyway." And
yeah, keep going. Without telling anybody about this.
Without telling anyone, Galadriel is unironically so evil in this show, man. And she's like the primary protagonist, and she's so vile.
No, Shad, I got it. I know what happened. You ever play an online multiplayer game against another team? The team's auto-balanced, and he just wound up on the other side.
Oh my gosh.
To rule them all.
And like that poem, right? One Rings Rule Them All. Wasn't that only first kind of brought into prominence by him inscribing it on the ring? Is Sauron just sitting there with his orcs saying, listen to this, guys. One ring to rule them all. One ring to fight.
Right, you brought to because of course Mordor is going to have like a poetry session night.
Yeah. It's just like, how does this feel to you guys? Is it vibing with you, or should I kind
part
of
of his slam poetry therapy?
Yes. I have a theory. We know it's possible for there to be a half elf in there, right? Because Elrond is half elven, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they honestly went through the entire all the way and said, well, we've got a half elf technically. Why couldn't we potentially have a half orc? And what if this guy is a half orc?
Maybe. Like
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it now. They're gonna say this guy's half orc, and that's why he's on the human side.
To my
why he's got the ability to betray Sauron.
I can't confirm this with direct lore, but to my understanding, I thought that was biologically impossible. I thought the orcs and goblins in Lord of the Rings can't breed with any other race.
I think that's why the Uruk-hai were so unique, because Saruman was able to like breed orcs and humans together, and I was like, "Whoa, this is crazy."
Dark magic was involved in pulling that off.
Okay. Well, since when do they care about the lore? You know,
you're right. They don't. They could like. That's not to say that they might still not do that, because they're so stupid with this show that they could. They just bastardize all the lore, right? But look, Galadriel.
Oh yeah, that's definitely for women. That part was definitely for women. Oh, I feel like she's sleeping with a man she doesn't want to, or something like that.
Yep. They're
or feeling guilty about cheating on her husband. Because the whole cheating on your husband thing with Sauron is definitely for women. That's what they like. They love that story.
Well, that was the shipping thing. Yeah, absolutely. That was totally written for a female audience.
But we have not seen what she has seen.
I've seen enough. Her response. You have not seen what I've seen. It's like,
you have not seen what and then she said again, like, you have not seen what I have seen. Like, just like she's his wife.
And I wonder if Elrond cut at that moment or something.
I don't, but I really wonder if Elrond was like, I wish there's like, yeah, I know you just said that, and I just did you not hear my response? Why are you repeating yourself? You're having a stroke, Galadriel. Oh man, the writing. But the Nazgul, but apparently I don't think they can call them actual Nazgul because of rights, and they're called like the Nazgul or some, like the half-foots are not hobbits, retarded stuff. Okay, but apparently,
Call me scouring Middle-earth.
All right, so you remember Lord of the Rings? You remember Lord of the Rings? The classic shriek.
Jesus!
When did
Asmongold?
Yeah, when did Asmongold become Gandalf? What's going on?
He just plays World of Warcraft.
This is him after his girlfriend finally took everything that he owns and kicked him out of the trailer.
Oh,
He's playing that wizard class.
Yeah. That really looks like Asmongold. And again, this just butchers the lore. To my understanding, Gandalf isn't even supposed to be red, or not the blue wizards. It's just they don't give a crap though, because they need to force everything in because they're trying to profiteer off of the success of much better works of art, films.
Middle Earth will burn.
Oh, Don Lemonless.
I thought he died in season 2.
Don Legolas. Don Legolas.
I want to see that because season 4 should be about what happened to all the black elves.
Right.
That would lead us to only white elves existing.
And for all the people trying to say you guys are racist for objecting to black elves, like, no, it's because that's against the world building of what Lord of the Rings is. No one objected that there was a black elf in Dungeons and Dragons, the Dungeons and Dragons film, One Amongst Thieves, because it makes sense in that universe, right? But in this universe, it does not make sense. But again, forced diversity.
This supposed to be a British or English lore. Yes.
It's supposed to be an English folk tale that has a folk tale origin of the world. Like Lord of the Rings is an ancient record of history of the origin of Earth. That's the folklore behind it. And it's so fun how Tolkien slips in those things. Like in the first Lord of the Rings film, he slips in a true origin for the song of Hey Diddle Diddle, the Cat and the Fiddle. And it was actually written by Bilbo. And the song that we have now is just a kind of forgotten, warped version that has only barely survived through history, right? And so he slips in those cool little things into his mythology that our world is actually, and when I say our world, we're talking about British, the British culture isles, stuff like that, right? Comes from this ancient forgotten mythology. That's the context, but again, they got to force all their representation in. Random battle, non-Nazgul. Galadriel. So I want to remember what they're calling these, because again, I think it's rights issues. They just made up a new name for it. You guys can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
Good. I wonder why they have not tried to bring in Proto-Saruman yet.
I thought you were going to say Proto-Baggins or something.
No, they kind of have. It's the other. It's this guy. It's this guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
What's this?
Remember season 2?
It's like a Fable shopkeeper NPC.
What's with Cuckbeard? He's got the Cuckbeard.
Yeah, this is the evil wizard guy from season 2, remember?
Oh, drink. Thanks,
he's got the Jack Murphy Cuckbeard.
Oh, my God. Heartfelt.
Oh, man.
Why are you doing this to me?
Has it not yet occurred to you? Death might well be the price of saving it.
That was like just vapid it wasn't nonsense, but it meant nothing. That was just a nothing dialogue to be like, this is fantasy, just fantasy. Then, man, this is giving me PTSD flashbacks of how bad they remember Numenor and the retarded plot point of Numenor.
I try not to.
Me too. I happily forgot so much of this, but this is bringing.
I remember Numenor. I have a tempest in me, and also it's like a.
There is a tempest in me.
Oh God, that line.
I've said that.
So
what else was? Oh yeah, I like how they brought in both Galadriel and Sauron, but he wasn't Sauron then. He was like his other name. But they treated her with dignity, but they treated Sauron like crap. Like he's a human man. He's just a man, so of course they treated him like crap, put him in jail and stuff. And then like, oh yeah, taking all the elves are here to take all of our jobs. Because
in giving him a different name and revealing him as Sauron later, like nobody, as if nobody could guess that from the very beginning.
There's so much retarded stuff in this
twist guts.
Yeah, that works. But yeah, that's my favorite part of Rings of Power season 1, where he's like, "Hi, Galadriel, you fought like you fought Melkor for like 1,000 years, right? Something like that. Yeah, you're a veteran of these wars against orcs. You fought countless orcs. How do you kill him?" And her response, like, "You stab him."
Yeah, just hit him with a sword.
And then like,
but they make it like it's something profound.
Goodness, holy crap! What?
Cut.
You stab him? Wait, how come we never thought of that? We stab.
Remember Antonio Banderas in the Zorro movie? He says, "You know how to use that sword? Of course.
Yeah,
pointy end, go into the other man."
Pointy end goes to the man. That's literally her advice, and it was like sage advice.
I know. And the thing is, in contrast to Mask of Zorro, like that's meant to be an uninformed statement, where it's like, do you know how to use this? Yes, the pointy end goes to the other man. And the comedy around that is that there's so much more to swordplay than something so like reduced and basic as that. And then, of course, he instantly gets disarmed, showing that he knows nothing about it. But then Galadriel actually says that in the context that she's saying something profound and impactful.
Ingenious.
Ingenious.
No one before Galadriel, no man has ever thought of stabbing an orc before.
Just stab it.
Oh my god!
Stab him.
And look, I not to self-aggrandize myself too much. I had an entire little segment in my book, The Black Crown, where one of them, where the main character Ragoth was taught by his hired help, who was a 140-year-old adventurer, how to fight. She was assessed how well he could fight with a sword. She praised him where she thought he was good. He said, "Okay, here's how to fight an orc," and she starts roaring and swinging wildly on. She says, "This is how an orc fights." But of course, my orcs are based after Warcraft orcs. But it was, and when you come up to a fight later in the book where he's up against a much larger orc, he remembers her tactics. He uses them against her, and something he remembers from earlier in the book to kind of help defeat that foe. These are important things. These are not things to just push off like that. You have to really give some kind of depth and weight and gravitas to these, because you can't just that was such a flippant comment that it was lazy. There's so much lazy writing in that first season.
Galadriel's response should have been like it should have been more akin to a vampire hunter telling somebody how to kill a vampire. Like they get weak in the sun and they stab them in the heart, or with a wooden stake, but it has to be here, or you could always hunt them down in a coffin during the day. Like she should know all of these things, not just you stab them. I'm pretty sure that they could have figured that part out by themselves.
Try and instill in them, hey, look, these are monstrous beings. They will try to frighten you into either running away or into not acting whatsoever. You have to swallow your fear or something like that. Something. God, He-Man did a better job at this.
Oh yeah, it has been a pet peeve of mine so much, where they need to try and show someone with skill, but the writers don't know what actual competent swordsmanship is, or the talent or skills needed to do it, and so they just make up fluffy nonsense dialogue that actually is retarded and nonsense. And that entire scene with Galadriel trying to train the Númenóreans, right, was comically stupid. I did a whole fight scene breakdown on Shadiversity, and it's unbelievably retarded, right? And so this is bringing back all the bad memories of how terrible these past 2 seasons were. And again, the Númenóreans. And all of this is kind of just meaningless now scenes where it's like fantasy slop with big music, and it means nothing. But we get girl boss Galadriel back in her armor. She just killed an orc, probably the orc that was telling about the One Ring, and she's being confronted with her lover boy, Sauron. Da, da, da.
Nice waves, Galadriel. They got really good hairdressers out there in Middle Earth.
She's so little, right? And it's like you don't convey strength, power, but they're desperate to make him. What was the line in the marketing for season 1? A piss and vinegar warrior is how they wanted to have Galadriel be. Gosh.
Her armor looks like it's full of holes too.
Yeah, just supposed to be a tree. She's back with Celeborn. I believe that's his name.
Now, quick question, Shad. Was Celeborn mentioned at all in season?
I don't even think mentioned. I don't even think he his name came up once from memory. Could be wrong, but
right.
That's what,
So if you were a talented writer, what you would have done if you were planning on bringing him back at some point, excuse me, you would have started having her have memory, go through her memories, pining for him, longing for him, yearning. Girls love yearning. Okay. They love yearning for this to the extent that he was almost a mythological being that maybe only she knows exists. So when he finally shows up, it has meaning. It has weight. At this point, it feels like you're only bringing him in because the fans bitched about it enough.
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, this isn't Numenor. This is Isildur or is I forget which one, but remember he was exiled from Numenor and is going to establish Gondor. That needs to happen now. Okay, they don't have printed on armor on his cloth undershirt. Still looks like weak crap, right? Like, look how thin the scales are.
It looks leathery.
Looks leathery, yep.
Maybe it is leather.
The dwarves. Oh, Elrond, I remember him. Not good memories. This again is just.
Go ahead.
Nothing. This means nothing. Just random scenes with music blaring. Nothing of substance is really being conveyed here.
Shad, you've got to do a breakdown of that axe. That axe looks horrible.
I mean,
look at that.
It's like it would still. I've seen worse. Let me just say, I've seen much worse. That could still do some damage. The issue you have, right, is that you can't choke the axe up to the head. See where his hand is? You try and choke it up, you're going to hit a blade and cut your hand. And so that's the retarded component of this axe, that it's actually got a blade facing down, because you often need to readjust your grip when you're holding axes. And there's a hole there that sometimes you want to hold it right up near the head. And so when you're sliding your hand, that's the big flaw with this axe design right there.
Hold on. The Laughing Cavalier says, we are the knights who say... What do you want me to get? What do you want to get out of here? We would like for you to procure for us a shrubbery.
A shrubbery. A much better.
That's a dwarf that looks like he wants the meat and he wants it raw.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
Give me the meat and give it to me raw.
I can't believe somebody got paid to write that line.
It was one of the more memorable lines, and it was actually the least cringe of the cringe line. But I have to say that it would be. I just was thinking recently because of the Odyssey and everything. Like, man, if only if only comedy was still allowed in Hollywood. But if only we had a comedic group today that was like the Monty Python group, where they could make like Monty Python's The Odyssey, Monty Python's Rings of Power. That'd be pretty funny. I think it'd be pretty good.
It would be wonderful.
There are no friends of Mordor here.
Sorry. Remember,
How are you
what's
still
it?
here?
Deezer. Gosh, like, don't forget what this actress was spewing when for the marketing up to season 1, where she was like, this is a redress of balance, finally to have representation. Like, effectively saying that if you were black, you could not enjoy Lord of the Rings until now because they have black representation of dwarves.
First of all, she has like, I like her like Wonder Woman headband.
Right.
Also, how in the world can there be black dwarves? Don't they live in mountains?
Away from the sun, you know.
Like, why would you need to have like a resistant melanin skin to sun if you live in the mountains?
Representation, that's all it comes down to. And they don't hold the same standards to Asian cinema or something has mostly like Wakanda, mostly African people in, or anything like that. Now representation doesn't matter then. No. And by their logic, they're trying to say that I shouldn't be able to enjoy Asian cinema, martial arts films and things like that because I don't see myself in them. Like, that's such a racist standard to promote. And that's literally so impossible.
It'd be impossible for any white person to enjoy, I don't know, the Raid, for example, right? And Raid 2. It would be impossible, Shad. It's like, it's not like a white guy made them or anything.
Right?
Like, impossible.
It's one of those things where they're so desperate to not be racist, they end up being more racist than anyone else on the planet. Like, I really do. But
Shad,
they think it's a valid time. You can be racist to white people according to them. Perfectly fine. That's their standard right there.
Yeah, that's not racism at all. They're about to get their wish, Shad. I don't know if you saw the trailer for it today, but the fantasy book Children of Blood and Bone got a behind the scenes teaser today, and they're about to get their melanated fantasy series coming soon, and apparently even that wasn't good enough. Apparently the author
I've heard
blocked the main
author's
actress and said, "Don't ever call me again" or something.
Yep.
I don't know what's up with that. I find it very funny, but
Yeah.
let's
Maybe
see
we'll
if they
find
complain
out.
about that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens because that's something to cover maybe a bit later.
By the way, as a fantasy author, how do dwarves eat? Like, what do they eat? Because they can't farm, right? Because they live in mountains. Do they have to rely on trade, or do they have like sections in the mountains where they farm food? And what do they eat if it's not stones or something?
Mushrooms, or actually like certain types of perhaps moss that can grow in certain dark environments. But like there are other fantasy things that you can do that they could actually eat certain types of stone and rock, and that's one of the reasons why they mine. It depends how far you go.
Like a rock biter from Neverending Story.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
A little bit. There's also in like a lot of like D&D worlds, there's big creatures that live underground that they mine. I mean that they hunt and kill and eat. Yeah.
I know in my fantasy, I actually have goblins and orcs and stuff able to survive off of eating mud. They hate it. They hunger for flesh above everything else, but they are trapped in a place of realm and rot and ruin and stuff. And so they can subsist off of that because they're kind of like, I like the idea. I haven't gone all the way with this, but I like the idea in like 40K that goblins or orcs are like spores, fungus that grow from their, and then when they get killed,
the 40K,
their blood actually just spreads their fungus spores, and they grow out of their blood being spilled. And so, being warfare is literally a means of reproduction for them. That's one of the coolest kind of concepts for orcs and goblins done in any fantasy ever. I really like that concept and idea because that just drives them to just fight. Because it's a biological imperative for them. Warfare is baked into their biology, and they love it. War! And so, yeah, man,
you beat me to it.
Also, the physiology is weird. So, like, if they get decapitated, they can have like an orc doctor staple their head to another body, and they're just fine.
That's my favorite part about the orcs from 40K. Their weaponry, they're not smart enough to actually design any of their technology. Their weapons and technology only work because they believe it does.
They aren't, what is it called? They're called psychomancers or something. They actually have reality warping psychic ability that they're kind of unaware of, and what they believe ends up being warped into reality to be real. I love, like, that's just such a really creative concept behind that. And so they think that if you put a couple of like bolts into a box, shake it up, and that makes a gun, it ends up being a gun, an actual real gun. And that's why their belief of like, if you paint something red, it goes faster, actually ends up, they're called psychers, Chad is saying. Red equals fast. And like, that's so cool. That's such a fun kind of world building concept. But now we have to get, well, look, let's try and get through this trailer. It's painful enough. Let's finish it off. Okay, so yeah, like this orc is just obviously trying to lure them in, tells them about the One Ring, and is gonna lure them into a trap. It's pretty obvious.
At this point, Galadriel is worse than Frieren because Frieren would just kill him.
Yeah, Frieren is.
If that were a demon, Frieren is like, I don't care. You're just here to deceive me, so I'm just gonna kill you.
The Dark Lord. We have to stop him.
Okay, so that's the actor for her husband, Celeborn. And
at least he looks like an elf.
Yeah, he's got the sharp features. The actor played Vecna in Stranger Things.
I feel like
that was him.
That's him. Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a very feminine man. Like, he's just gonna be like she obviously wears the pants in the family. That's what I think it's gonna happen.
Well, we'll see. It will not surprise me.
Stop him.
People have commented like, I think that helmet's okay. It's all right.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
It's not the worst. Oh God, you're being girl boss fighting all the
shadow rises the middle earth.
Vapid dialogue that they're appropriating from better things.
would you like to rise with it?
And he's gonna make the ring. Remember the hammer? He stole that from
guys, then everything has to be quippy, right? You don't have to be like parallel in all things. Oh, there's shadow rising. How would you like to rise with it? You don't need that. You don't need that every single time. Not everything needs to be quip. Also, it's like, okay, what is it then? How about you just tell me what the thing? This dialogue can be copy pasted into any trailer.
Oh, really good, really good. This is just trying to bait people in. Get out of here. This is not Lord of the Rings.
They might as well just do Lord of the Rings at this point.
Right? Do they have like a after credits thing? No, but they have released other clips of the Balrog and stuff. Oh, it's still trying to exist. It has been terrible. There is no reason to believe it is going to be anything other than the crap that they have. And even if this is good, right? It's built on the foundation of 2 abominable seasons. Right? And so I will be looking at it because I am reviewing it, but I have absolutely no interest in this. If I wasn't reviewing this is completely ignored and irrelevant.
I do happen to have Prime, so I will probably watch this to help analyze it with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel better knowing I don't have to go back and finish season 1 and watch season 2 because they told us we don't have to. Okay, this is a jumping on point, whatever. Who knows? Maybe there's this weird world we live in with this timeline where we jump back into where Hollywood, after 2 seasons of trying to fumble around like a monkey with a football, they actually may manage to make this semi-watchable. They did it with season 3 of Picard. Right, but I don't know. But this is like, I think, like Gary said on FNT, this is the season with 2 female showrunners. So I got a feeling we're going to be talking about a lot of feelings in a lot of hallways over meals and drinks, probably.
Yeah, regularly eating a lot of food. This is the season where they can become Sex in the City.
I have no hope for it apart from making fun of how bad it is, but we'll see. I'll judge it on its merits when it came out. But again, same people making this made season 1 or 2, so All right, let's shift topics because this is an interesting topic. This has ruined some people's days, I guess. Have you guys heard of Steven Universe?
Oh yeah, I heard the controversy around it.
Yeah, the controversy.
Unfortunately, so.
Oh, the latest one. I mean, the latest one.
Yeah, the latest one. Because I know nothing about this show. I have no interest in ever watching it, and I've seen some like just random clips due to the controversy. And holy crap, what a woke just disaster of a show that would be, right? But it has a very passionate fan base. It seems like.
Let me stop you there real quick, Shad. Okay, passionate, yes. But also awful. Me and my kids watched a lot of cartoons around the same time that Steven Universe was on. Now, originally I did kind of try and ease into it and see what the deal was all about. My kids lost interest pretty quick, or my son lost interest pretty quick. But this show has a very Tumblr fan base. Okay. This is a very woke fan base. This is the same people that love the She-Ra Netflix, that love Critical Role to death. The Sparkle Trolls, as we like to call them. This is this is actually one of the worst fan bases that you will ever find. If you want to wait to, we can go ahead.
This really shows. Well, because no, you're right. Because when we say worst, right, these are the types of people that they cannot stand that conservatives even live. It seems like, and that if any conservative or anyone who might be MAGA or anything like that is associated with anything, they spurg out to unbelievable levels of hate. These are the most intolerant, and remember, this is the side of tolerance and love and hate bad and all that stuff. These are some of the most hateful, intolerant bigots in the world. And this is another point of evidence revealing that to be the case. Because what has happened here is that Steven Universe fans, this is where it was beginning, are speculating that Dee Dee Magno Hall, the voice of Pearl from the show, may support MAGA after noticing these are cardinal sins right here. she follows Charlie Kirk and several MAGA affiliated accounts on Instagram. Oh my gosh, it's a crime worthy of death.
Wait a minute. How come they're allowed to notice things, but we're not allowed to notice things?
Right?
Why are we not allowed to do noticing? But they are. Also, how come we take crap every single time there's a retarded actress or whatever? We take crap. Oh, you're just getting angry over nothing. She didn't say anything. Like, just I don't know. They always mention like, oh, she's only 30. She's only 25. Like, why do you care? How come we get crap every single time we complain about them saying retarded stuff? But it's okay for them to. We have to endure every single one of our actors, every single one of our voice actors being retarded wokies.
Yep.
We have to be okay with that. But one person might be suspected of being a MAGA supporter. Oh, everyone just loses their minds.
They lose their mind. And this isn't even based on anything that the voice actor seemingly has said publicly.
She's not done anything.
It's based upon the rumor that they might be MAGA because of certain people they follow on Instagram. That's the level.
It's not even like she said something like, I support ICE, or I want lower taxes. Or it's like she did nothing. All she did was follow some accounts.
And think about, like, we have been praising Dungeons & Dragons on Amongst Thieves, Masters of the Universe, and stuff like that. And we know that there are people associated, involved in the production of those properties, right, that hate our guts. They are insanely woke. And they even made woke statements with the marketing about toxic masculinity and everything, showing that we know which, political vein or ideology they subscribe to, and just going off the trends, we could easily intuit what that means about them and how they think about us, what they really think about us. And other people of that ideology has come out and said very blatantly and openly multiple times that they want us dead, by the way. That's the level of hate that is common amongst this side, the most intolerant. But the thing is, though, when they make something that is actually not drowning in propaganda and actually has some merit to it, and is even enjoyable, we'll acknowledge it, and we can even say it's half decent, and we'll enjoy it, because guess what? We're not bigoted retards that can't enjoy something made by people who disagree with us. But look at this, based upon the rumor that they might have a different ideological or political affiliation, is making them utterly go insane, because the follow-up to this
But the reason, Shad, and I'm going to tell you this right now, is because this show was made by them for them. This was one of their best cultural victories as far as they're concerned. Because you have to remember, this is the kind of fan base that thinks that these cultural scalps, whenever something that is slightly conservative, you have an actor or someone who, they come out as the characters revealed as trans or bisexual or something. These are the ones that are on social media shouting and screaming that they won something, because there are very much people on the other side of the culture war who are invested in everything mirroring what they believe. To them, this is their 9/11. It really is. And it's like just that bad to them.
It's making them lose it. Like I've even seen clips from this character, and I don't know if it's from the show, but it was this character saying some of the most woke propaganda crap ever, and it was supposedly the voice actor saying it that might not have subscribed to those beliefs, but that's their job, and they just recorded the dialogue. And people like showing those clips saying, how on earth could a person that supports MAGA say these types of things? And it's like, maybe because they can separate the job from money, their political affiliations, like they're just doing a job.
Literally,
but I
money,
don't even know if it's completely confirmed that this person is full-blown conservative.
She
right?
can just be following those accounts to hate them,
right?
It could be replying.
Possible, but people have been losing their minds over this.
You know what? If we did this, we just like grifters. Right. But it's just this is like, again, this is this suspicion that she might be MAGA.
Suspicion. This is wild.
This is exactly the kind of thing that I expect from a fan base that pushed one of the fan artists in their fandom to Minecraft themselves, because they drew a character who in the show is depicted as pudgy. They drew them vaguely thinnish. and they jumped on her for it.
Well-
And she Minecraft herself over that. So as
Well,
far
like,
as I'm concerned, this fandom deserves every L they can get. Suffer.
Oh no! Like the amount of vitriol and hate that they're willing to spew and attack people for, like even the rumor that they might not ascribe to their ideology or be against their ideology or be conservative is insane. These are vile, evil people that genuinely celebrate when Charlie Kirk got murdered, right? And they want people to die for not adhering to every single thing that they demand they adhere to. And when you step out even in the slightest way, they spurg out, lose their mind, harass people, bully, say the most vile things about them, and have legitimately driven people to suicide. Right? That's this group of people. They are absolute psychotic, evil nutcases.
They did the same
There's
thing
a
to The
reason
Rock,
we
right?
call the left a death cult, and it's reasons
is
like
re-
this right here.
They did this to The Rock also, where he's like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about politics anymore. Everyone started calling him a coward. So they keep saying that, oh yeah, right wingers can't do art. Right wingers can't. Well, I mean, look what happens when you're in the industry. They constantly inspect you like the Nazis, like the Gestapo. Excuse me, are you you are hiding right wing artists under your floorboards, are you not? They keep constantly. That's why everyone has to keep virtue signaling. It's like sending like a pheromone for bugs. Like, oh, you're one of us. You're one of us. You have even if you're right wing, you have to keep signaling that you're left wing, or else you can't get a job anymore.
And they're time locked back in 2015, so they still think that these cancellation tactics still work. Sometimes they do, but they work a lot less than they used to,
and not nearly anymore.
Well, and their gauges, right? These types of extremists, right? Because look, I will say not everyone is on the left is like this, not of course, but they don't condemn these extremists or call them out nearly enough, because these extremists that do this, right? They will hate and vilify and attack a work, no matter what it is, if it's just made by a conservative, no matter what, right? It could be one of the greatest things ever written, but if it's made by a conservative, they will look for any reason to try and slander it, destroy it, take it out of context, because that's what they do. And a recent thing actually came across my feed related to this, which is talking about the exact same concept that we're talking about. So this is by Larry Correia, who is a successful indie author now, right? And so many people love his work. And he talks about this because this is in response to a previous tweet that he was saying here about his stuff being really successful on Amazon. Someone says, like, you know, I was a weird kid hiding a book inside my textbook class. I can't say I've ever read anything, everything out there, but it's not for lack of trying. And then he mentions the book, right? That it's something special, that this book they really, really loved. And so Larry points this out, and he's 100% about this, because I've had the exact same experience with my book, Shadow of the Conqueror, okay, which is beloved nearly universally by all its readers, okay. But when I came out as conservative, especially when I was showing that I support certain, uses of AI in generative art and things, holy crap, that's when like all these spurgs that, they will attack the work, lie about it to just discredit it purely because they hate me. And so he says here, I have zero doubt that if that series had been written by anyone other than me, because he's a very outspoken conservative, all right, it would be widely hailed as a masterpiece. After Son of the Black Sword came out, a respected and well-known fantasy author, his liberal, obviously, decided to review my supposed masterwork and critique it so he could go into detail and put it to bed once and for all how much I suck as a writer. Then one day, I get a message when he grudgingly admits that was probably the best fantasy of our generation. So this guy to appease the mob, openly critiqued something and presented something as bad that he actually grudgingly admitted was one of the best fantasies he had ever read, right? But he can't ever say that in public without getting skinned and eaten, so he never posted his review. To his credit, I've never seen the guy talk crap about my work ever since, but the standards of conservative writers, by the standards of conservative writers, that's a huge victory. But the thing is, though, that's what they're like, right? That's genuinely what they're like, where they feel like they can't compliment anything written by a conservative, right? Because
we get torn apart.
Absolutely. And so the amount of bullcrap I see like leftist spurgs say about my novel is insane. And then they attack me, right? Like a book that is explicitly anti-rape with a very explicit anti-rape message throughout the entire novel. They try and say, because my protagonist is a gray area because it's a dark hero, right? Because he's done bad things in the past, they try and say that I'm some type of rape apologist for even having that content in my book. If they ignore that far more explicit content that celebrates and promotes rape, right? If it's made by someone on their side. Because they're hypocrites and they know it.
Yeah, maybe we should just take a segment out of the show, Shad. Like, I'm take this moment to apologize for rape. Rape apologists. Like, this wouldn't that be like an activist talking point? Like, yes, right? Let me go ahead and go on this podcast so I can argue and apologize for rape. Like, that never happens. That never happens.
And so someone responds to Larry, and remember, this is related to now the hate that Steven Universe is getting, because it's not that, it's bad. It's that it was made by a conservative, and how they will not support anything that's made by someone that because they're ideologically opposed to, because they're bigots. And that is far different from people like us who, not only can I support things made by people who disagree with me politically, I can be friends with them. I have friends with people who are on the left. Wow, shocking that. But no, they can't do, because, and again, they're absolutely intolerant. So he says, why are leftists such cowards? This guy read, loved it, but can't publicly admit that it's great. And so Larry responded and is bang on the money about this. Honestly, it is survival. Conservatives can disagree vehemently about art and still get along afterwards. Look at the con debates of the Odyssey this week. Look at the debates I've had about the Odyssey on F&T and everything. Masters of the Universe. I had a debate with Midnight's Edge. Man, my brain just went dead.
Didn't he say it was like the wokest thing ever?
He hated it. He hated it to death. And I talked about it with him on Flashcast, right? And so, and I still get along with the guy. And we disagree vehemently about this movie. But it seems like these people, they're incapable of that. I can't believe I can't believe my brain went dead. Because I know his name, but why is it? Guys, Midnight's Edge.
Tom?
Thank you. Why did my brain... Tom. Love Tom, right? And so, we can disagree about stuff and still get along. So we can read... And so Larry continues, we can read stuff written by our political adversaries and still say that we like the work. Most of the left can't. This is so, so true. Okay. They practice rigid groupthink. So if you praise a conservative artist's work, that's betrayal to the group. 100%. You're a heretic, and heretics need to get burned at the stake. Look at how they're reacting to the voice actor in Steven Universe.
I wonder why he's like, oh yeah, right wingers can't do art. Well, first of all, it's that half I mentioned earlier was like they make sure that you either are leftist or you are at least pretending to be leftist. You're walking the line. You're towing the line, at least pretending to. Or if you're indie right wing, they just ignore you. They will not support you anyway. The only way you can get any support is if they have to give you support, like if you're Frank Miller or something.
And then if you are indie and conservative and have had a successful book like me, and then they discover that, they will turn on you and they will attack you for anything that they can invent. And they're attacking this voice actor in Steven Universe, part of the course of their behavior. And holy crap, these leftist spurgs that have tried to misrepresent and lie about my book is insane. Even though when you look at the reviews, most people who read it, not only do they say they love it, a lot of people are saying it's one of the best books they've ever flippin' read, right? That's how much they've enjoyed my novel. But again, it's an ideological battle for them. And so Larry, he's had the same experience here. Seriously, think about it. How often do you see liberal artists admit publicly they enjoy art from an out-of-the-closet right-winger?
They can't admit it. They can never admit that.
I can't think of a single example, honestly. Right?
You know what else? You don't see? You don't see a lot of high-level conservative influencers going out of their way to assist conservative artists or authors to help signal boost their work. And yet, at least every other month, you will have them popping up on social media going, how come right-wingers don't write more art? And we're all the conservative indie authors and comic creators that I know pop up in the comments going, hey, here we are, you blind effer. There
are heaps of conservative artists, right? You're absolutely right. And so he says, in fact, it is so rare that it is more common for them to pretend there is no right-wing artists at all, right? Or that anyone on the right is simply capable of producing art at all. So show them an artist on the right and they will immediately cease to be an artist. Dude, they did that so viciously with me when I was supporting AI. Because interestingly enough, most of the anti-AI people are from the left, right? Like the left and I'm not saying there aren't anti-AI people on the right, but the most vicious, vitriolic, unhinged group are actually people on the left, because a lot of them are like leftist furry artists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right. And they're so desperately afraid that they're going to lose their, commissions and things. And so no joke, right? I have a track record of hand-drawn art on my DeviantArt and everything. And I've had artists come out and say, Shad's hand-drawn stuff actually isn't that bad. It's actually kind of good in some, artworks that is made. But as soon as I supported AI, I'm not an artist. And they'll never say I'm an artist, because it's like some weird kind of, I don't know, like idol that they hold to themselves. And they also, I think that there's an ideological thing that they know art can touch people's hearts and even sway people's views about certain things. And so they want to try and have a monopoly on it. So it doesn't matter if you are a successful author, musician, actor. The minute the left hears you're guilty of wrong thing, you are no longer a real author, musician, or actor. Everything you've ever done, even if they liked it before, is now utter crap forever. Wow. He is so 100%, because again, that was the case with my book, because my book was released before I was very outspoken. I never hid my stuff, but this is like before I made Night's Watch, and where I really became outspoken about things. Okay. There were people that, no joke, read my book, liked it, found out my political leanings, and now it's the worst thing. Yeah,
it must be because you love rape, Shad.
Must be because I love rape. It's insane. It is insane. But this has legitimately happened to me as well. Okay. And also people who were on the left that liked my book, gave very positive reviews and everything like that. Radio silence.
And suddenly they're saying nothing, or because they're cowards. They're all cowards. They either will not say anything, or they will bend the knee and say, "Oh, it sucks," even though they secretly like it. Like this guy mentioned. He's like, I just liked your work, but I can't say I liked your work because I get torn apart by my retired audience.
Their idea of a right-wing artist is their only example every time is Kid Rock.
Probably.
Like that's where they immediately go to, because they think when they think right-wing artist or conservative artist, they immediately think somebody that is so over the top conservative and undeniably successful that they have to go to a guy whose best album dropped in 99,
Mm-hmm. And so I won't read the whole thing because it's long, but I will, ending off on this. The left is harder on their artists because those are their clergy and priests and must follow dogma, or the theology breaks down. The rank and file can still get away with liking Mel Gibson movies or listening to Kiss or Megadeth songs. Don't know that one. But by golly, if anyone asks about it, they'd better say it's too bad artist X turned out to be such a right-winger nut job or something like that, right? But hey, go follow Larry Correia on Twitter. Is a great author and phenomenally based, and he is spot on the money.
Just be warned, he goes off on boomer rants quite a lot.
He does. I like him.
Hey, Shad, germane to the issue. What have I got over here? What is this?
Look at this. Look at all these phenomenal indie authors right there.
It looks like conservative art. It looks like right-wing art.
Are those not supposed to exist? I heard this doesn't exist at all.
Yeah, I was told this wasn't a thing.
God, and in the indie sphere, there are heaps of authors, right? We're all writers here. We all have our own works. John, LitDev, and myself all have works, okay, that everyone, I encourage you to check out. My own novel is with my editor. The next one, I'm very excited for it coming out.
By the way, Shad, I put something up there as you might. I'm sharing something because I'm putting together a team. I don't know if you know about the other one.
No, I don't know. I can recognize it's from Ruby, is it?
Yes. It's okay. So this is the whole thing. So we got now we got Maga Pearl, and we have homophobic Ruby. So that's the whole meme that came out. I think it's during the last season where they went to the Wonderland area, and that was a season where they just outright confirmed that her sister Yang is now in a lesbian relationship with the cat girl, and Ruby did not approve. Like she was just like, I don't care. Like stop talking about like what the hell. But they kind of played off. They got upset about it. Like, oh, she's homophobic. She didn't celebrate them being lesbians together. But if we actually look at the show, it's because she was about to commit suicide. Like she went through the hardest crap of her life, and at that moment, that's when they kind of like reveal that they were girlfriends now. It's like, I don't care about your feelings right now. I'm going through something else. And so because she didn't drop her near suicidal mentality of how terrible she is with her feelings and how much she hates herself at the moment, and then instantly jump up and hug them and celebrate their new gay relationship, she became homophobic Ruby. So yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that's about it. I watched the
The memes
season.
were great.
But yeah, I'm putting together a team, MAGA Pearl, homophobic Ruby.
Like genuinely, it's bend the knee, support our thing immediately. Otherwise, you are a vile bigot, and we will excommunicate you and attack.
Who cares
you.
if you're so depressed you want to kill yourself? You better jump up and celebrate with us,
Right? And it is kind of weird because they have such a skewed moral compass that they're so desperate to virtue signal that they take things wildly out of context and attack stuff, and their hypocrisy is blatant to be seen, and they just need to be like ignored but also exposed at this point. And I think like when you see them lying about, especially conservative artists, okay, I encourage everyone to use your own voice to defend people who get attacked by these insane psychos, because they legitimately have managed to silence people and shift a narrative, shift the Overton window to what is acceptable. And that's partly why I became more outspoken about being conservative, because stuff you, okay, this is normal. This was normal, standard common beliefs, like not even 20 years ago, right? That now people are trying to say is far right, ultra extreme. It's like and Elon Musk had an interview recently where someone tried to call him far right, and it's like, no, that's normal.
He's a normal guy from like 10 years ago. That's
yep.
Yeah.
But I really hope, with all sincerity, that this Ruby news this Pearl news ruins the show for them retroactively. I hope the show is ruined and they can't. Every time they rock reruns, it always comes up.
Yeah,
I think they have a little taste of what they've been giving us for the last 10 years. Happily, not just ruining all our franchises, but gleefully and happily and mockingly and smugly ruining all of our franchises. So I really do hope that this ruins it for them and they could never watch Steven Universe again. I really hope it's not just ruined their day, but really ruined a critical, essential part of who they were as people. I hope it is, and I hope it's painfully damaging to them.
Yeah, and not for nothing, but a lot of their shows end up feeling very samey-ish when you consider like what they consider art. It ends up feeling so repetitive because they only tell so many stories, so many particular story beats over and over again. It's always trauma and therapy speak and identity politics and fetishizing gay relationships. And like this is starting to have like an effect on a lot of the things where they put too much of it in there. That what have we been railing against for the past 6 years? And even normies are kind of like, man, every time I watch TV, it's the same thing over and over again. Nothing feels new. Nothing feels interesting. And part of that's because of the self-imposed rules they put on themselves. But a lot of that is also the activist mindset that they go into any show with, where they see everything as a platform for their propaganda and their activism. And it makes so much of it unwatchable that it's, kind of tanked a lot of shows over the last few years, and a lot of movies too, because it's just too much. People want to return to something that's normal, and Steven Universe, for whatever it may have tried to be in the beginning, ended up just becoming that. It became a platform for Rebecca Sugar, the creator.
Just propaganda at the end of the day.
People
and that's what they want.
He's got it. What Az said, you're boring.
People want humanity. That's kind of what woke is. It's anti-human. So when every single time you come in with even if they're trying not to be offensive. If it has to adhere to wokeness, it will be it's being stripped of humanity. That's why people like homophobic Ruby, because that feels real. That feels human. Like because they don't want to be offensive. But the thing is, humanity is offensive.
When you say like humanity, I want to jump on that because there's more depth and truth to what you're saying there that perhaps people might realize that does encapsulate the whole woke movement, which is, like you said, anti-humanity. Because think about their aversion to the nuclear family, right? And this goes into their fear of population growth and all that stuff, where they think humanity is the enemy. We are destroying the planet. We are the problem. The West is the problem. And they love hating themselves, right? And flagellating themselves for their own virtue signaling. That anything that can push against the growth and prosperity of actual people, right? They legitimately side with the bugs in like Starship Troopers and say, you know, the bugs were the victims and stuff like that. No joke. Like you can actually almost identify nearly any woke ideology by, is it being anti-human or positive human? Is it talking about the growth of the human race in positive, you know, traditional ways like the growth of the nuclear family, okay, human flourishing, or are humans the enemy? And you'll just identify a lot of their ideology.
They're all over the Warhammer 40K universe trying to make you feel bad that the human Imperium, actually, guys, they're fascists and they're tyrannists. And it's like, you look at the Chaos God factions, you look at the Necros, you look at all the other factions in the 40K universe. It's like, am I supposed to root for them?
Right. And I think that's also why, like, because a lot of woke ideology can be summarized and identified through intersectionality and the forced equality that they feel everywhere. And it comes from basic impulses of envy, okay, that the haves and have nots, and they think that those people that have less like them, well, they clearly have less because the rich stole resources from them, and they feel they're justified in stealing resources that and forcing the equality that they feel they're entitled to, when people are just different. And because people are different capacities, different intelligences, different strengths, you will never have a perfectly equal society. You'll have people with different outcomes. That's unavoidable because people are different, but they hate that. So therefore, they will re-engineer humanity itself to try and force those outcomes. And so that's where a lot of the woke ideology can be identified, described to. But the thing is, though, one of the outliers that they have really latched onto is climate change, but you can see a connection with the anti-human like concepts and ideology, where their attachment to climate change, because humans are the bad, humans are ruining the planet, where populate all those things, and it gets all kind of connected when you identify what they're really pushing for. And so it is an anti-human message, and they will attack people who are fighting against them in the most vitriolic ways, as we've seen in this segment that we've just done. There's one final segment that maybe we don't have enough time to. But I can't. Maybe we'll. I don't know if we'll be brief, but it is related to this. Okay, so something that has been interesting to observe over this past not only year, a couple of years, right, is a growing attack against anime from the left. Have you guys been noticing a general trend of certain things? Yeah. Now, what's interesting? Why would this be the case? Anime has many things that the left would love, all right? There is LGBT stuff in a lot of anime, right? Like the Japanese have not been shy about doing that type of stuff. But at the same time, anime, a vast majority of it, remains very based and traditional, especially when it comes to the depiction of heroism and masculinity, and also women. They can't stand that anime just likes the fact that men like looking at attractive women. Anime understands that, and so they try and make their characters either cute in a non-sexual way, but just not fun to look at. It's cute, it's nice, but then also anime loves making sexy characters.
That's what I mean about them being anti-human. I mean, that's part of humanity, is that men like women, and they find that really offensive. This is why my main complaint for the He-Man movie. Like, why doesn't he get to love it? Why isn't he and Tila together by the end? Why not?
They teased that too, and they never delivered on it.
Why is it that he can't have a love interest by the end? Because that's too offensive. That's too human. That's too offensive. So, and humanity's way too offensive. But anime has all these guys like really lusting after women and women lusting after men. That's too real. That's too human, and therefore they hate it.
Right?
It's
and
what
so
they call it's what they call heteronormativity. They hate that. They
really
while
hate
at the
it.
same time it's all baked in their ideology. It's the same kind of people that loved Steven Universe. Their ideology is so deeply rooted in non-normal forms of attraction, bisexuality, non-binary, homosexuality, all that stuff, that when they see a normal heterosexual attraction between two characters that are heterosexual, it pisses them off. They can't stand it. Because remember, they felt like, they feel like they've lost a part of the culture war when that happens, because it's giving into they don't want it to be normal. They want everything they believe in to be normal across the whole spectrum. But when they feel like it's regressing back to the patriarchy and all that nonsense. Yeah, that's heteronormative. Yeah, it's such a ridiculous thing. And you see this in literature circles. You will see the majority of gay male relationships, that's fetishized by white women. They are the biggest perpetrators of that. And that kind of carries over a lot into the anime as well. They can't stand fan service. They can't stand men being attracted to women. They definitely cannot stand a female character exhibiting a normal a normal sex drive being attracted to a male character. God forbid.
Right? And it comes down
heaven
to
forbid that He-Man ends up with Tila by the end of the movie. Can't have that. Heterosexuality is for mom and dad and the bad guys.
100%. And so anime has many of the normal things baked into it that the left can't stand. Anime, even with a good chunk of LGBT stuff in it, a lot of it, near most of it, is actually very heteronormative. Guys being attracted to girls, guys being depicted wanting to be masculine or heroic, even though a lot of the heroes in anime are very emotional, connected, or even a bit on the effeminate side. Look at the main character from Demon Slayer. He's crying all the bloody time, yet he steps up when a hero is needed and he fights like hell and is still a great hero, right?
But it's even worse sometimes, Shad, because you've seen the Country Bumpkin Swords Master.
Yep.
That one's even worse because it's all the women liking him. And that's even worse because we can't that's they find that offensive that women would like a man, especially if this man is strong and masculine and a complete badass, which he is. Too scary.
And some of those girls are, when I say younger, they're all very late teens or adults, right? But because they're on the younger end and he's an older guy, that's just like Country Bumpkin. That's pedo bait, and they've been latching onto that a lot with anime. And I'm going to expand a bit more because this is interesting. Because they want any vector of attack that they can latch onto, because they're starting to identify anime as their enemy. Because anime is openly happy. And anime doesn't think it's we're making this to promote traditional values, heteronormativity, normal male-female attraction and heroism. Anime just wants to entertain. And so it's just making things that are traditionally entertaining, and because such traditional entertainment is baked on traditional heroism, which is inherently masculine, they're starting to identify anime as an enemy, and then they're trying to latch onto any possible thing that they can undermine, criticize it, invalidate it. And so one of the big criticisms that they've been pushing against anime is that it's all pedo bait, that you must be a pedophile if you like anime. Have you heard those comments? I've heard them.
Yes. They defy anime as right wing now, so they want to do anything they can.
You get any female character that is under 5'7", and they assume that the reason you like a female character who is short, which guys, short women exist. They especially exist in Asian culture. Okay, some women are just short. They assume that if you like a female character that is short, that it's coded pedophilia because you.
I know, and this is insane to me because my wife is under 5 foot. She's just 4 foot, a bit under 5 foot. So she's very, very short, tiny, and the left seems to think that short women don't exist. And my wife she's a mother of 5 children, full grown adult, love her with all my life, right? With everything, right? But the left seems to have been attacking that. If anyone seems to be attracted to a short woman, and they identify short with being young, and no one would look at my wife. She looks young for her age, but no one is thinking that she's underage or anything like that. But because she is on the shorter end, the left is legitimately trying to make this through line that any guy that is attracted to a short woman, especially if they're petite, they're just pedophiles. And it's like, what the? They're that desperate to try and vilify and undermine these types of things. And with anime, there's a whole thing where they depict women of every shape and size in anime. They cater to all, I guess, preferences, let's put it that way. But because anime also has petite characters, adult characters that are on the shorter end, everyone has been trying to attack. It's like, that's pedophilia when these are adult characters that are women, right? And then they try and talk about that you can identify age from anime characters. And I'm not sure if they've realized that, I'm sorry, you left of Spurgs, anime peak characters don't look even human. Have a look,
they
anime,
really don't.
The anime aesthetic and look are that they look like freaks. Okay, they don't even look properly human, and so I just typed in anime into a search, right? And the common anime aesthetic, not all, but the common is large eyes, okay, small mouths, pointed but wide faces, and pointed nose, right? In actual fact, it is so common that the faces are near identical between the characters. Like look at the Dragon Ball Z characters. Their faces are identical. You just change the hair color, and that's how you change between Goku and Vegeta, all right? And so there is that little level of actual specific individual detail in anime, okay, that there is no way to identify the age of most anime characters by their appearance. They all have the same faces, okay? And so to say that all anime characters look like children is nonsense because they don't even look human. I no joke. Where is the one I had up previously? This one.
No, now that's not true, Shad. That's not true. If you see a character who looks like they're grizzled and aged and they got one foot in the grave, they're like 31 years old.
Must be, but no joke. Okay, so just to prove my point, this is a character that is pretty representative of a standard anime style. That face, if you were to just remove the hair and some of the eyelashes, that's the face of a male character that can be in anime. If you just give the character a male haircut, right? And the point is, this is an anime aesthetic. It's not actually, you can't tell age, and you can't even tell that they're human, because take that image that I just had up, right? And then let me show you, I gave it to Grok, and I said, Grok, make this image photorealistic, okay? Don't change the proportions, just make it realistic, okay? And this is what Grok did. Like, this looks like an uncanny valley horror show freak. Like, if you met a person like this, you'd be like,
a doll come to, like a little doll come to life to kill you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like, Grok did it. It's like I said, Grok, keep the proportions the same, just make it realistic. And
it's kind of like when someone these ran around the internet years and years ago. Someone took the Simpsons characters and made them realistic human skin textures and everything, and it just looked horrific. Germaine to the issue, man. You've got a short woman in the chat. Shout out to Watcher the Damned, who is our author R.H. Snow. I met her in Texas. This woman is minuscule. It was hilarious to see, but she is such a wonderful. And another conservative author, indie author, by the way. Guys, go check out R.H. Snow's Watcher the Damned. It's a sci-fi post-apocalyptic romance western. It's good stuff.
Awesome. But 100%, and so the fact that they try and say all anime characters look like children is like, they don't even look human, okay? Don't even give me, but they're desperate to try and vilify and undermine it. And then, of course, if the character ends up being shorter, it's like, that's definitely a child. And the level of dishonesty to try and attack anime is actually kind of getting pretty extreme, because then they will attack the creators, they will attack fans. This is the same type of stuff. Again, it's in reference to what we've been talking about with my book. My book has a character that has done terrible things, okay? And because I'm a conservative, they use that as means to try and attack me, that somehow I'm messed up because I can write a character that's done evil things. All right. And one of the more recent vectors of conversation and attack to try and undermine anime recently has been the discussion around a genuinely interesting anime, okay, that deals with actually dark subject matter and has genuinely flawed characters that have done some terrible, terrible things in the past. But because those characters have done terrible things, it's a point of attack. And they have gone absolutely nuts against this anime recently. And what am I talking about? Mushoku Tensei. Mushoku Tensei. This has been interesting to see, like just people spurging out about this anime, and I've talked about Mushoku Tensei a number of times because I've watched the whole thing, and there are some legitimately dodgy stuff in it. Okay, but what's interesting about that, the show actually frames it as inappropriate, and the character even as being bad for having these things, but because it's even included in the anime, people are trying to say that this is like promotion of the bad behavior when no, the context is that it's bad. But because it even exists, they have flawed, imperfect characters, and the main character is one of them. They have been trying to use this as like some club to beat over people's heads, that if you even like Mushoku Tensei in any way, you're a pedophile and you're vile and evil. And so the context, let me give you a context about this, okay? Yeah, now, I've only seen season 1 or 2 and a bit of season 3, the first 3 episodes. But the character, the main character, okay, is a loser. And not a loser, is a dirtbag who lived a horrible life. But the thing is, though, the show committed the cardinal sin that he is a loser because of horrible things that happened to him. And it doesn't necessarily do that to excuse his behavior, but to contextualize the character to explain this is the reason why he is the way he is. And so it's a reincarnation isekai this is the English title is Jobless Reincarnation, where the main character was a bum that lived in his room for like 35 years and end up becoming a pretty horrible person, and then was kicked out of his home. And at the moment he was kicked out, he saw some people crossing the road and pushed them out of the way in some last kind of act of decency, saved their lives, but he got killed and then he was reborn. Now, the context of this, though, is that he became such a loathsome bum because of some of the most traumatic abuse and bullying anyone has ever received. So this guy in school objected to some bullies cutting in line in a lunch line, and in vengeance the bullies kicked the ever-living crap out of him and then stripped him naked and tied him to the school's front yard. Okay, the humiliation and mortification and trauma of that event made him a recluse, that he retreated to his bedroom and just lived off watching anime, manga, and pornography for the rest of his life. He alienated his close friends, his brother, and his parents because of how much of a trauma this had on him, to the point where he didn't even go to his parents' funeral, and he ended up treating everyone like crap because he felt no one loved him. And so everyone that was coming to him to try and offer him support were just lying because no one truly loved him. And so he ended up legitimately treating people like crap, and he became a very messed up person as a result. That's the context that people want to ignore about this, right? The whole course of Mushoku Tensei is about his recovery, essentially, in another world, overcoming the horrible person that he became in the previous life from the traumatic event that happened. And the thing that people cannot, like the people trying to attack this anime, right? They cannot comprehend that when he is reborn, he is still an idiot and a bit of a dirtbag, and is trying to overcome really bad behavior that got ingrained in him because of his terrible life. But as a result, because it actually deals with the trauma seriously, it becomes one of the more mature and serious focused like anime, attempts at this rebirth life out of any other anime made. Mushoku Tensei is kind of hailed as a bit of a masterpiece for how mature and like realistically it deals with trauma and other events and things like that. But again, like I said, they latch on to anything that they can try and, because they actually hate anime. And I wouldn't even say Mushoku Tensei has a conservative message, but it does have a message about a positive message about family. He becomes a full-on polygamist and he marries by the end of season 2 women. Okay, so this is not promoting a traditional lifestyle, but it does promote heteronormativity, and it has a very big promotional positive kind of depiction of family and growing a family and having children. Like the guy, when he has his first children, he cries at how much of a special, unbelievable thing, and that he could have such a, what he sees as an incredible life after being such a dirtbag, right, in his previous life. And he ends up building he gets 2 wives, and I know he'll eventually get a third. And he ends up building a family, and he ends up having what he sees as a brilliant life. Okay.
Sounds like he hit the isekai lottery, because most other guys get reincarnated as slimes and vending machines.
Like Mushoku Tensei is the most isekai anime of any anime that I've watched. And like I said, there are characters that do some legitimately horrible things. His dad, it's revealed, and it doesn't dwell too much, but his dad did a really, really bad thing in the anime that he regrets, and the show tries to see if he is able to repent from that. And the person that he abused, the dad, well, that person ends up marrying him as well in the past. And so the fact that this show like actually has abuse victims forgiving their abusers, okay, that seems to be a the most evil thing ever in the world to the eyes of, you know, people who want to attack this show. The character does messed up things. And remember, he is reborn into this world from being an actual dirtbag, okay? And there is this conversation that I admit is has no real answer to it, and it's the conversation about age appropriateness in this new life. And I have no idea, because like he's reborn as a child, and he actually has the emotions of a child as a result, yet he is got the memories and life previous of a 30-something-year-old guy. And so there's no actual easy answer to try and address or say what's appropriate and what's not, apart from the fact that this is a fantasy medieval world that has a different age of consent to the modern world. And so because there is relationships of adolescent people in it, that's another thing that people have tried to attach on and say this is all pedo bait crap. Again, trying to find any vector of attack in this anime. And so
I mean, they would be really weirded out if they read another book, another series by the guy who wrote Lone Wolf and Cub. He did another series that's about the history between Ieyasu Tokugawa and Hattori Hanzo. And one of the most famous lines is "Show me how to make love" or something like that. And it's not between the two guys. It's Hattori, like Ieyasu Tokugawa is like, "Hey, so you are a cool ninja, right?" It's like, "Yeah, I'm a cool ninja." They're both like young. And he goes, "Do you know how to make love?" He's like, "Yeah, totally." And so the Hattori Hanzo goes out and kidnaps a girl from the village, and then essentially just rapes her right in front of Tokugawa Ieyasu, and then she becomes his girlfriend. Hattori Hanzo's girlfriend.
I mean, if you look at some of the women's literature that got out there, I'm sure that was bound to work on one of them.
Well, no joke. No, that is like there's a whole section of romantasy smut that is rape fantasy. That is no joke. Like they not only glorify rape to an extreme degree, but the women who end up getting raped then hook up with the abusers. And the left, they radio silence on that because it's often written by feminists, right? But if anything even approaches trying to depict things that not even as extreme as this stuff in the romantasy smut, right? But just to have that in a story, okay, they use it as, you know, an attack vector for the author is a pedo or rape apologist or some nonsense like that. Again, okay, because we've talked about in this whole stream, the approach that the extremist left have when it comes to pushing their ideology and attacking anything that they see a threat to their ideology. And so Mushoku Tensei deals with things of a similar nature, right? And people who are familiar with it, like one is the dad did a horrible thing with a character that ends up being the maid, and then the maid seduces the dad later on, and then they end up also getting married. And so one of the things that like I find, you know, exposes them a bit about this stuff, right, is that they really get like they start spurging out when they have characters that are teenagers having relationships, okay? When a lot of this stuff, well, Mushoku Tensei, I wouldn't say is age appropriate even for teenagers. I guess where people, put their standards are, of course, what is appropriate for, teenagers and stuff. But there is a lot of characters in anime that are made for teenagers. This is their target audience, okay? But what I also find interesting is that, no one seems to really complain or have objection to the people that are attacking anime, right? I don't see many people bringing up, I don't know, things like this. Guys, do you know the age of the Little Mermaid? Yeah, like in the movie.
Is she like 16 or something like that? She's
16. Like the movie starts with her 16th birthday. Okay, and they don't seem to understand that the age of consent was different in the past, and this is not me advocating for it, by the way. I think we do understand the modern day that even though when people hit puberty, that their bodies might, be developing in a certain way, that they're not adults yet, and it takes longer. And so, but the thing is, though, there is different ages of consent in different parts of the world. And this whole kind of like the left will ignore a whole world of characters of a certain age, stuff like that. But then if anything is like depicted, in something that they see as a threat to them or made by a conservative that might have like, I don't know, a 16-year-old fall in love with a 17-year-old. Okay. To me, that doesn't seem like pedophilia. That seems like a common thing that happens amongst teenagers, right? But if that is appearing in any story that they, again, a threat, it's just flat out pedophilia. And they attack it, but then they ignore a whole range of stuff. And so it seems to be what they're doing with Mushoku Tensei, where they don't want to try and even acknowledge that there might be a context that is different in terms of age of consent and other things in this fantasy world. But no, it's all pedo bait, and they're ripping it to shreds because they see it as an easy target to misrepresent, even when they're not even acknowledging that the main character's inappropriate comments and the way that he views women is a direct byproduct of him being a bad person in his previous life, and he has to learn to overcome those bad behaviors. And by the way, in a large part he does as well, but because he does dodgy things that the show shows as dodgy, it again, no context. And I think they would lose their mind or completely their brains would break when they actually go to history and learn about what history was like. Because if you want to depict a medieval world, okay, that is different to our world, well, guess what? This is the reality. I'm not trying to say that I agree with it or think that is valid or any means, but the medieval world actually did have a different idea of what the age of consent was, okay? People were getting married quite young. There were arranged marriages and royal marriages in the medieval period. And that was just a fact that happened historically, but their brains would melt and break at this. One of the more extreme ones, okay, about this, is it Isabel of France or no?
These are the same people that have a conniption fit when they hear that an older actor like Leonardo DiCaprio or Tom Cruise is dating someone that's 19 or 20 years old, and they'll call that pedophilia.
Yeah, and
their idea of they flip out over age gaps that might be wide but are technically perfectly legal. And
they ignore they ignore anyone on their side as well. Yeah, by the way, they do it, but because a lot of people on their side, right? These spurgs on Blue Sky, they're openly pedophiles. They have it in their bios. And what are they called? MAPS, minor attracted people. Right?
Yeah, just you can't be rude if they admit it, right?
Right.
At least they're not rude. But
No joke, they have open and avowed pedophiles on their side that they do not attack at all because they're on their side. And then they want to try and use it as a label to undermine anything or anyone that is against them ideologically. And they will latch on to anything. And Mashoko Tensei is a recent example of this, when, again, I think their brains would melt. Like, there was a real historical person. Now, this is bad, okay, but it happened. This is a real historical fact. Lady Margaret Beaufort, I think, she was married when she was like 12, and she gave birth when she was 13. Okay, it's like, that is, but it's also a historical fact that people of this time period had a very different idea about what was appropriate and what wasn't to the modern.
I don't think, Chad, that a lot of people, especially younger people, realize we are really not that far removed. And I'm not saying this to try and condone anything. We're not that far removed in history from a time when getting married in your teenage years was much more common. I'll use myself as my parents as an example. My parents got married at 18. I didn't think there was any kind of issue about that. But as I kind of grew up, I come to find out a lot of people considered that marrying very young. And, I had no idea. My parents were just adults in my eyes, because, when you're a kid, anyone that's an adult is just a grown up. You don't really take those kind of age, those age issues into effect. I remember dating when I was a teenager, like an age gap of a year to 2 years felt like a big gulf, because in teenage years, that's a big gulf in your, your emotional and physical development. But once you get past 18 into your 20s and 30s, like that's nothing.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that long ago when getting married at age 16 was actually, and I'm not advocating for this in the modern day by any means, but it just was a common thing in the past. The Little Mermaid is a perfect example. How old is that film?
It was a cultural norm.
It was an absolute cultural norm that, Ariel got married when she was 16. And by the way, Prince, I forget, Eric? Was it Eric? He looked like he was in his early 20s, okay? And people trying to say that Prince Eric now is a pedophile, but it's just like, the modern mind has just gone retarded, and they don't understand the nuance of the past or anything like now, trying to impose their modernity onto everything. And then the ultimate thing is they actually don't care about this. They don't care about the age of consent or anything like that. They have open, avowed pedophiles on their side, okay? What they care about is winning ideological battles and using it as a club to attack people that they perceive as their enemies.
But their writers do this all the time too. Like they will always make their preferred age of heroines when they write them is 16, 17. Heck, they did that to Superman. Superman's son Jonathan Kent. They aged him up from the Super Kids or Super Sons era of writing, just so they age him up all the way to not 18 but 17, and they gave him his gay boyfriend. It's all about him being gay and super sexual with his boyfriend. So they do this a lot. Where there's so they like it. They don't care. They
actually don't care, but they will use it as a label because, actual pedophiles, where do they go? In the friggin' wood chipper. Like, people who abuse children deserve the death penalty. I cannot express how vile and disgusted I am with people who abuse children. They exist and they deserve to be punished, okay? And so that level of true hate and vitriol exists, and the left, they want to use the actual legitimate hate people have for those who abuse children and then use it as a means to try and slander anyone as their enemies to get people to hate them as much. And if they can, with the most pathetic, most bullcrap excuses that they can latch onto to slander their enemies as pedophiles, they do that now. No joke. I have a character in my book, Dayless, who's an awful hero, horrible person, right? And the age of consent was different in the world setting than our current age, and because it's a more medieval-based world, where do I get what would be a realistic age of consent in a more primitive-based culture and world? Okay, look to history. And so in the book, it's 14. And so he had a harem because he was an awful tyrant in the past. And so he ended up having a harem of women like Genghis Khan. And the ages range from the age of consent on. And the whole context of that in my book is that this is a terrible person and he did terrible things and this is bad. But because it even exists in my book, no joke, retarded, vile, disgusting spurg leftists, right, try to accuse me of being a pedophile because that's in my book. That's the level of disingenuous bullcrap that they use in this culture war. And then they have openly avowed pedophiles on their side that they ignore. This is the level of bullcrap that they resort to. And that's why I felt it was interesting to point out this whole discussion that's been happening with anime and even Mushoku Tensei, because it's just showing that this is a common tactic that they're resorting to.
I mean, what do they have left? Actually, they don't have like Nazi anymore. They don't have racist anymore.
Well, they're going to make the term meaningless, and the term is actually, like, if used appropriately, identifies legitimately loathsome, people who do or believe bad things. Like once upon a time, it used to be really bad to be a Nazi. Okay, but they call everyone Nazis.
It's lost all meaning.
That's lost all meaning now.
The next one that was really effective was transphobe, but that doesn't really care either. It doesn't really matter either anymore.
I kind of hope, though, we don't reach a point where, because like Nazis and racists and bigot, that whole thing has gotten not just meaningless. You now have people who laugh about embracing the title. I kind of hope the same thing doesn't happen with this, but the people that are crying about pedophilia, they're also, I guarantee you, behind the scenes, they're also hardcore gooners themselves.
Oh,
that is the hypocrisy that I have
Yeah.
seen in the anime fans that call this stuff out, is that they are extraordinarily prudish towards this material existing in the anime, even in the mildest forms. But at the same time, I guarantee you they don't want anyone to see their Google search history.
Right? Like a lot of them seem to be so viciously like outspoken about this as a deflection tactic, because it seems like a lot of them, they got some things hiding in the closet. Let's just say.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of examples. People have posted a lot of examples on Twitter where they found this person complaining about anime and those topics and everything, and suddenly they looked at their Instagram or something like that, and it's all this teenage, underage like stuff. They every single time they looked at them. There's even some who I think there's one or two cases they found where this guy was complaining about anime, and it turns out he had like just a stock of CP on his hard drive, and he was arrested for it. So it's very interesting. It's happened a lot of times where they point out in anime, they point out like, oh, they thrust the finger of accusation at anime, and then they behind the scenes, they're a little weird.
Yep. Like even the person. So in response to the Steven Universe stuff, right? One of the people spurging out, made a cartoon of having a power fantasy of murdering the voice actor. Okay, this person here. But then a community note appeared where now I don't know if this community note is correct or not, but they say this person that drew this comic of them murdering the voice actor says that this person, aka Halo Son Horns, I don't know, is a pedophile groomer with evidence in a Google Doc being 212 pages long.
Damn. Whoa.
I don't know if that's true or not, but community noted with that. Okay. Wow. And look, I can't take that as actual evidence, and I think we need to be very cautious about labeling anyone with that. Not like the people on the left who will try and throw that out to attack anyone. We are better than them, and we should be very cautious about calling anyone anything close to that without rock solid evidence. And so that's why I'm not going to say that's the case or not. I don't know anything about that person. But it does seem to be a trend of people that actually are exposed with real evidence of being, let's say abusers, right, on that side. And oftentimes they're open and outspoken about it, especially look at those profiles on Blue Sky, It's wild stuff. So that was, like I said, one of the things that crossed my feed that I'm just seeing a common trend on. I will see if it continues. But let's wrap up. We are over time. I appreciate you guys sticking with us. So let's grab these super chats. Wally Muna, member for 39 months, says, what upsets me the most is not rings of slop existing, but thinking what could be done with a decent team using that budget. It's heartbreaking. Yeah, man. 100%. Wally Muna for 20 says, Grok says it takes 7 to 8 seconds to type accurate Bronze Age armor on a web browser search, but I guess Nolan was busy. Yep. Okay, yes, I got that one. Nathan Cassidy, our moderator in chat. Zeus and Hera were the Clintons of Greek mythology. Woo, spicy.
Every masterpiece is a cheap copy.
Golden Reaper $5 says, watch the Reaper or Possum reviews of Masters of the Universe. I might check that out. Well, Immunit for 20 says, is feminism evil? Step 1, Grok, total deaths in all wars in human history. Step 2, Grok, total number of elective abortions from 1980 to current date. Step 3, despair. Dude.
No comment.
No comment, man. No, that's just, I can't. I actually, it's hard to believe that. Like, I actually sometimes wonder if an alien race ever came down to us and learned, like, about abortion and to the extent it gone, and just like you do that to your young. They would potentially look at us as some of the most barbarically evil civilizations they've ever run across this. Golden Reaper $5 says, Shad, it's I think this is talking about Master of the Universe. It's a bad adaptation. Stop saying adaptation, even though it's a bunch of race swaps and has woke elements. If anything, call it professional made fan fiction. I like Master of the Universe. It's not perfect. Called out the things that I wasn't, and that's me assuming that you're talking about that. But I think I saw the super chat when we were talking about Master of the Universe. But if you're talking about Odyssey, the Odyssey, then I would agree. It's not an adaptation. Yeah, it is professional made fan fiction. I would agree 100%. If you're talking about the Odyssey. The Vile Wendigo for Mr. Shad. This is off topic. Apologies, but I think FR for real would love for you to do some blind Souls-like playthrough. No need for special short edits episodes, just long form would be fun AF. Your Prince Caspian vid is my fave, by the way. That's awesome. Thank you. Guess what? This channel, Night's Watch, when I first started out, was called Game Night and still has that original video game footage. It has me playing Elden Ring. If you look up Elden Ring or on this channel, you will find some me playing video games. Nathan Cassidy 499 says, still blows my mind. Some smooth brain not only thought the Balrog needs a voice, but they picked Simon Pegg to do it. So
we forgot to mention that.
Yeah, but it turns out I think the Balrog might have had a voice, like in a Tolkien lore, that the Balrog, it wasn't uncommon for the Balrogs to speak. But it's like, which voice are you gonna pick then? Simon Pegg? Really?
Yeah, I'm sure that the Balrog had a manner of speaking. I just can't imagine it being, anything besides a heavily modulated, heavily filtered kind of voice. At which point, why would you get a celebrity to do that? You could get just any rando, I think.
Yeah. But Nathan Cash again, 499 says, well, Shad, you've been watching House of the Dragon. Writers think you can say highly sensitive information in front of grunts and they won't say a thing. Yeah. Look, House of the Dragon has got, like, a season. It's not doing great. It's not doing
that
great.
back?
It's just, yeah, it's back, and worst season so far. It's not doing good.
Seems to be a Game of Thrones thing. You notice that the farther along the seasons go, the worse they get.
I hope it doesn't happen with Night of the Seven Kingdoms. That was so good. The Vile Wendigo 49 says, the jump cut of season 1 from Galadriel yelling to demand at the Queen to suddenly being locked in a cell was pretty funny, though. There's a lot you can laugh at in Rings of Power. Not the way they would want, but you can laugh at a lot in Rings of Power. I agree. James Zapp for 10 says, notice that Barad-dûr was being built. Will they remember that Barad-dûr and the Black Gate were built through the power of the ring, which is why they collapsed when the ring was destroyed? Probably not. I don't think they would remember much of that at all. The Vile Indigo 49 says Thorin says Erebor grew no crops and traded for all their food from the Dale, which doesn't make sense. No, it does not. You are correct. And then Starry Night also says, from my understanding, they do trade for food. And now look, it makes sense that they trade to some amount. Yeah, it makes sense that they traded to some extent. But if you're supporting a whole civilization, you need to be growing your own food as well.
It can't just be trade. That'd be crazy. Yeah. Then all you gotta do is besiege it by surrounding it, and you win.
Yeah. Yep. Macariv for 10 says dwarves eat the same thing Sylvester Stallone tasted when he went underground in Demolition Man. Rat burgers. Tasty, nutritious, so I hear.
A good rat burger.
Yeah. Alexander Cross for 10 says the orcs' ability to make things work through belief, this is talking about 40k orcs, is limited. It's more like if you get enough of them. Yes, if you get enough of them hyped up, they can make a broke gun work and less turning a box of bullets into a functional gun. Okay, cool. Thank you. For the context, Wally Muna for 20 says, what is the favorite book from the people that falsely claim Shad's book defends? Yeah, grape, right? Obviously, 50 Shades of Grey, because apparently that's fine if you're rich and powerful, right? Right? I know, dude. Some of the things like, what does that say?
Galen was rich and powerful, wasn't he?
But what's that saying? Your boos mean nothing to me, for I've seen what makes you cheer.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would like your book if you were like a hardcore.
Oh, absolutely.
I've said
most
it from the
of them
beginning.
did.
I've said it from the beginning. Relabel it a romantasy. Have the main female character fall in love with Dalen. You've got a bestseller on your hands.
Yep. If it was like the left are willing to ignore some of the most vile behavior if they're openly on their side, right? And people like on our side, we often call out our own side regularly, okay? Because we actually have standards and we hold to them. So Grey Spirit, there's a slow corruption censorship of anime, especially this is a problem that we're seeing with the translators and the woke kind of dubs and translation things happening. But so far the fan base has been pretty strong to try and call it out. Okay. And there's a war happening between Mushoku Tensei and people using it as a means to try and attack and undermine anime, but a lot of the fan base, some of their defenses are not great, honestly. And some are like, but then some are just, saying get stuffed, get out of here, tourists and things. And they're pushing back, they're fighting back. Vlad the Shriek member for 60 months says, people changing goes against leftist beliefs. Explain why getting fit is evil. Forgiveness seems to be a non-existent concept to a lot of these extremists. Okay. Like again, Mushoku Tensei is interesting because it has characters that have done legitimately terrible things. Okay. Abusive things towards women that go on arcs to better themselves and seek forgiveness. But again, because they have this kind of virtue signaling mentality that this character did an abusive thing, no forgiveness in any existence possible.
Also, they don't understand change either. So that's kind of why this is one of the most annoying tropes of modern day that I have is that they know they need to go through the motions of the character changing. So what they do is have them go through training section, and the training section is just like a sparring event where it's like, okay, well, they fought a little bit, right? So they can be better now. Like they have no idea what a training section is. So it's like, okay, they hit swords a few times. Like if Galadriel just like fought for a little bit, she'd be better, and that'll be it. This is the same thing happened to Ruby, where like, okay, they need to train a little bit so they can become better at fighting, so they can fight tougher opponents. And the training section is just like them doing skills for a little bit. They have no idea of the concept behind a training scene where they're supposed to learn more about themselves, overcome obstacles, overcome personal flaws, weaknesses, face down these weaknesses. They don't do that because they have no idea what that means, and they find it icky, I think.
Yeah. And so one of the things that they cannot reconcile with, right, is this character right here. Let me see if I can actually share my screen. This is Paul, the main character's dad in Mushoku Tensei, and he is a very flawed character. Like that, and the show that's the context. The show is not trying to excuse Paul's behavior. Like the main character, Rudius, legitimate when he finds about like, you know, some of the things that his dad did, he even says, "Oh, Paul's a scumbag." Basically, it's like the show is saying that Paul did terrible things. Okay, yet the show also shows this character going through an arc because he also cheats on his wife with the girl he abused in the past. But the thing is, that girl seduced him. It's just like this whole stuff happens, right? But you know what this character also does? When his family gets scattered through, it's called like the Great Manor Incident or thing where everyone gets teleported across the globe. He spends the rest of his life nearly, like, when I say nearly killing himself, if you know what eventually happens, right? Like, basically does, right? He gives up the rest of his life going through hell to try and rescue all of his family members, his wife and his second wife that ends up happening and all that stuff, right? And he legitimately ends up dying for them as well. Okay. That is a genuine, like, noble sacrifice from a very, very flawed, imperfect man. And it seems like trying to understand a balance that people are capable of doing good things and bad things, and you need a way up, and can people overcome and become better and repent and potentially be forgiven? These concepts seem to be completely beyond these extreme leftists that just want to attack anyone for anything, because forgiveness doesn't seem to be anything that they are capable of. It's an evil thing. It's a Christian thing, right? And so that makes them nearly incapable of trying to understand the nuances of this character, where you don't excuse any of the horrible things this guy has done. He's done some really bad things, and the show openly says he was a scumbag for a lot of his life. A lot of characters hate his guts for the things he's done in the past. But the fact that this character is also capable of potentially going through an arc and also sacrificing himself for other people, right? Again, nuance beyond them. They don't want to, they can't even comprehend these things at all, it seems like. Wally Yamuna 20 says the exact same people that criticize Mashoko Tensei would praise it if the main character was a woman. I'm laughing because you're probably right, honestly, right? If it was a woman and they were all queer romances, they would all be giving this a pass because they would see it as something on their side, pushing their agenda, right? If the relationship was same sex or based on recent bestsellers, wonder what those bestsellers are, Milking Farm. If the partner was a Minotaur vampire or something, yeah.
I'm tired, boss.
I'm tired, all right. Like, the hypocrisy is so blatant at this point. I mean, no joke. One of their spokespeople feminists, who was it? Lena Dunham actually admitted to sexually abusing someone when they were underage.
I think it's her sister.
It was her sister.
Like some really, really bad stuff. And she wasn't saying the context that it sounded like she was repenting or that was bad, but the left, they completely gave her a pass.
She did nothing wrong.
Yeah. Yep. It's wild. They're double standards. Okay. But yeah, well, I mean,
I point this out. It's like they'll chastise you over that Iroh scene where he's like, you know, where he's like pretending to be paralyzed. So that attractive assassin kind of lands on him because she's been paralyzed. They'll say, "Oh my goodness," but they'll laugh at a guy being raped in prison. You know, this
no joke, no joke.
Like, they didn't have double standards. They wouldn't have any standards at all.
In The Boys, Huey gets nearly raped, violently sexually assaulted, and they're all like, greatest episode
they clapped at that. They laughed at that. They thought it was like brilliant or genius. Like, oh, it's good. Like they think men getting raped is a genius play,
right?
Or peak comedy.
Their hypocrisy is astounding, and it's again, if they didn't have any double standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all. It's just unbelievable. Nathan Cassidy 499 says they hate training sessions because that requires effort, and leftists are inherently lazy, which is fitting because they are social parasites. Oh, the extreme ones, man. I can sometimes get you almost black-pilled because I don't see the world getting better. I see it getting people finding their side and holding it more aggressively. Like it's becoming more divisive, the world, and more divided. And I find the extreme left becoming more intolerant. And if you push to that extreme, the only response is like, oh, you guys want us dead. How like you celebrated Charlie Kirk dying. We know the reason why you call us Nazis. You don't call us Nazis because you think we're violent. You call us Nazis so you can be violent against us. You call us Nazis so you can justify killing us, like Charlie Kirk, right? We see how violent you really are, and so where is this all going to culminate to? You know, it's not good. It's not good. Oh, try and avoid blackpilling. Sometimes. Those are all the super chats. Thank you, everyone that has joined us in this stream. Signing off. But as we sign off, as always, gentlemen, John, anything that you want to mention?
I got a little something right here. It came in the mail today. Yeah, it's just a proof, and you can tell right there on the edge. It needs a little bit more tweaking, but I'm trying to get the paperbacks for the Lionheart out, and as well as the reformatted second editions of the Black Crown. These are both available. If the covers look like they need a little tweaking, I'm trying to fix that, but these should be live hopefully before too long. And look at the width difference between there. Whoa, right there. I kind of like that. Yeah, this one's a lot more leaner. I really like that. But if you like epic fantasy with orcs, Black Crown. If you like superhero and epic fantasy, the Lionheart. I got a link in the private chat, Shad, if you want to post that. But that's what I got going on, guys. As soon as these paperbacks are available, I will let you know.
Nice. Let me just drop that for everyone to check it out. And so check out John's book and a link right there. And please do, everyone. Like, conservatives. We do make art, great art, and support the good stuff. And LitDev, anything you want to mention?
For now, just going to go ahead and mention that I have a stream every weekday morning nonsense, always fun stuff to look into, to go over. And also, I'm still working on that comic, trying to get it to come out soon, but we ran into little delays. But I'm hoping to have more material by the time it comes out. Made some changes on it where we're going to make a. I've considered it. I'm going to make it full color if we reach a certain stretch goal. The first stretch goal of the comic book will have it full color.
Nice, man.
So hopefully that'll be good.
Awesome. And for me, same old. You know where I am. Thank you for joining us, everyone, on the Culture Crusade. We hope to see you again. And as always, stay on watch. Bye.